He's doing the back end, so we're kind of at his disposal. Want me to take Mark? No, Mark can stay on. Oops.
We are live.
Are we live?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it still says scheduled on my end, but if we're live, then I suppose we're live.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Happy Flip Your Script Friday. But it's very interesting because, now I see live on my side. Okay. So welcome everybody to the bLU Talks Flip Your Script virtual event. We are on our finale day, the Flip Your Script Friday day. My name is Elise Rothman. I am the founder of Flip Your Script Coaching, a mindset architect, vibe enhancement specialist, and I fuel and power all of that as an EFT master practitioner. So when you're ready to recognize, release, and restore your life, flipping your script is a great way to start. I'm super, super excited today. Lisa Beck is our co-host. Lisa, how are you doing today?
Amazing. So excited to be here.
Yay. So I'm going to introduce Lisa first to you all, and then Mark Victor is down below, and we're going to give him the stage. But Lisa, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are in the world, and what brought you to bLU Talks.
Yes. Like I said, my name is Lisa Beck. I reside in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I am a self-love empowerment coach, author, and speaker. And I love bLU Talks. I love the connection with people. I love writing and I love speaking, and I love connecting people, meeting new people, and empowering women to ignite their life. So whether that be in their career, in their relationship, just step into that next level version of themselves.
Awesome. Well, I'm super excited to spend the afternoon with you here. Mm-hmm. And we are going to move forward right away because Mark's down there. I just see what is it, that hang 10?
Live.
Is it like a hang 10 though? Isn't that like the hang 10 sign?
We call that the shaka.
That's shaka shaka
in Hawaii, and it's the symbol of the world's newest global peace movement that we call the Live and Let Live movement.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Sounds right in line with Yum Life, which is finding the umami in your life. So umami and shaka shaka. I like it. So Mark, where are you coming from? Where are you at right now? Where are you speaking to us from?
As I sit here, I'm in Chandler, Arizona. Lived here probably half of my life. I'm originally from the Boston area. Didn't want to shovel snow anymore, which I'm sure Lisa's dealing with over there in Minneapolis. And so I moved out to Arizona. Absolutely love it. Arizona's been great for me. I've got a law firm here called the Attorneys for Freedom Law Firm. And we've opened up a branch in Honolulu, which is where I will be off to on Tuesday morning. So very difficult duty, but somebody's got to do it. So I got to spend a lot of time in Hawaii every single month.
I still hear a slight Massachusetts accent in you.
I know. I was going to say, you don't sound Arizona born and raised.
I went to grad school in Massachusetts, so I love the area.
Where what university?
I was in Western Mass, so Springfield, Massachusetts.
Oh, right outside of Boston.
About an hour and a half.
Kind of. Okay. Outside enough. Outside-ish. So Mark, law firm and shaka shaka.
Yeah.
Wouldn't really put two and two together normally, would we? But I love the combo.
Yeah, that's right. You wouldn't put that together. That's because, peace requires us to separate our personal views a little bit from things. Where we're at in the world right now is most people have ideas about how they should live and how other people should live. And so they're wrestling with each other to put those ideas into the law to force them on other people. Now, some of these are good ideas. I agree with many of them, but we're not going to ever get to peace unless and until we can sort of pull back from that position and say, you know what, everybody's got a right to live and let live, right? What makes you happy might be different than what makes me happy, and it's okay.
And if we're truly happy, does it really matter?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, pursuing our own happiness, you get to define what makes you happy, and you get to pursue your happiness any way that's peaceful, that doesn't interfere with anyone else's right to do exactly the same thing. So I've always been a pro-freedom type of a guy. I've always recognized the rights of other people to run their own lives. But for about maybe close to 30 years now, I've been sitting and scratching my head and saying, why isn't this freedom message, more sort of replete throughout the world? Why doesn't this make sense to everybody? And I think it's because we don't do a very good job explaining the differences between a legal rule and a moral rule. They're both very important, but they're both very different kinds of things, right? If you're in the legal rule box, well, that's the kind of rule that if you violate, something's going to happen to you. You get a
consequence.
Yes,
a specific consequence that's a tangible one that's written, because every choice has a consequence.
You're right, absolutely right about that. So I like to explain that as a formal societal consequence. Things like jail, prison, fines, that stuff. That's what violating a legal rule is about. A moral rule, which is also very important. We need to talk about this. If you violate one of those, there absolutely are consequences, but they're different variety of consequences. They're more social consequences. People might not want to do business with you. They might shun you. They might not want to be friends with you. And we need to talk about both of them, but we need to keep them separate so we can take our own personal morality out of the law. I know everybody wants to put their morality into the law, but the reality is we don't all agree on morality, and it's okay. We can chart a course here that makes sense. So the Live and Let Live movement is now, it's not even launched yet, and already the movement is in over 20 countries with over 30 active chapters around the world, and we're launching in March of 2023. People can find out about it by going to liveandletlive.org. If you want to be part of the solution, that's where you should go.
Okay, so I'm going to wind you back just a little bit because I know that you know what Live and Let Live is, and we're kind of getting a taste of it. However, how did Live and let's learn a little bit more about you. I'm always like, all right, let's get down to the nitty gritty. So first of all, do you have a family, kids, married? Let's get there and then hear the story about how you got into law, and then what is Let and Let Live? What is it actually? I understand the concept of freedom and one's personal perspective and showing up in that way with morals and values. But so let's back it up.
Tell us the journey.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm very happily married to the world's most wonderful woman. I definitely married up. She's a cardiologist, and she actually was born in a third world country in Burma and has taken that and brought that to one of the really most well-known cardiologists in the entire Southwest here. And she inspires me every day. One of her favorite phrases that I've adopted is almost anytime I've got some kind of a problem on my mind, she reminds me, hey, Mark, that's a first world problem. And we're very privileged to have first world problems. And so this gives me the proper perspective. And she's also gotten me more into meditation. She's a Buddhist. And I've become more acquainted with some of the Buddhist philosophy, much of which I embrace. And so I've got 3 awesome kids. They all were raised with sort of freedom ideas and important values in life. They all understand and respect the rights of other people to run their lives. And they're all, no surprise, because they hold the right values. They're all very successful. 2 of them are college graduates. One of them's going to law school. The other one's still working on a college degree. They're all employed, all great people. And I'm super proud of my very favorite job, which is being a dad.
Yay. See, now I feel like I got a taste of, the real taste of
Yes, being a parent is probably my favorite conversation. I'm a criminal defense lawyer, and I can tell you, I can't count the numbers of times where I've started my discussion at sentencing by saying, you know what, Judge, I had a great mommy. I bet you had a great mommy. Let me tell you about my client's mommy. And then you know where it goes from there. Because this is, any criminal defense lawyer will tell you, or prosecutor, or judge for that matter, will tell you, we got a pretty good idea who's in the criminal justice system. Not in all cases, but in the vast majority of cases, there's certainly patterns, and parenting is absolutely critical. This isn't something the government can fix. We got to fix this.
Yes,
we got to first take charge of our own lives, right? We got to say, look, I'm in charge of me. I'm the unapologetic, iron-fisted dictator of my body, my property, my money, my time, my mind, what I believe. Let me take charge of that. I'll decide how I react to what happens in the world. And then I'll teach that to other people as best as I can. I'll offload those values. And when I make a mistake, which will certainly happen because I'm very, very an imperfect type of a person. I do my best. I strive for
excellence. We say that we're flawed around here.
Absolutely.
First world problems, and we're just a little flawed.
I'm not happy about it. I wish everything I did was perfect.
Dude, you're human. You're human. Make peace with your flaws.
I recognize that, and I've come to embrace when I'm wrong about something, because I say, wow, awesome chance to be corrected, change course, take a more correct position going forward. So that's a little bit about me and what I'm about. And so I've always been interested in trying to leave the world a better place than I found it. And to be fair about this, the world is pretty damn good right now, notwithstanding all the problems.
You know what? Can you just say that again?
I say it loudly and proudly.
Say it.
I'm going to say it like this. There has never been a better time to be alive on the planet than right this second. I don't care what color your skin is, whether you're male or female, who you love. If you had an opportunity to live at a different time, you wouldn't take it unless you could in a future time, because there's good reason to believe that the future will be even better. I'm interested in trying to hasten that change.
Yeah.
The good things that are happening in the world.
It's your East Coast attitude. Come on, let's move it along a little.
Yeah, let's get this going, right? We still got poor people in the world, and we got lots of problems. We can fix this stuff. We're on the right track. There's a wonderful book called Enlightenment Now, written by Professor Steven Pinker, that talks about how the Enlightenment has really improved things around the planet by almost everything we care about. Poverty, education, violence, access to food, everything is getting better. Sure, the rich are getting richer, but so are the poor.
But what does rich really mean, Mark? Mark, what is that's a first world concept.
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell you, rich is the definition that when we hear the words. When we hear the word rich is a first world definition of rich.
Absolutely.
Because I have traveled all over the world, and I'm going to tell you, rich has nothing to do with dead presidents on paper.
Yeah, we want to improve people's standard of living, right?
Yeah.
And so, of course, money and wealth is a part of this. I don't want to say money is meaningless. It's not meaningless. Wealth.
No, I didn't say that, but it isn't the definition of rich.
I agree with you. So it's very important, though, and I don't want to skim over that. We got to improve standards of living, which means we got to improve trade. People got to trade more. Trade is win-win. But what's most important, and there are many things more important than money, freedom is one of those things, right? I can tell you the people who come in to see me who are at risk of losing their freedom, money isn't on their mind. Freedom is what they care about. Health is also more important than money. So is your personal integrity. Could you imagine being rich and feeling horrible about who you are as a person? And then, of course, relationships with other people, which is why we push very hard in the Live and Let Live movement, this idea of building high levels of trust with other human beings. Because we know that the good relationships we have with others, those are the ones with the high levels of trust, and the bad ones are the ones.
Interesting that you speak on trust, because it's been coming up a lot, specifically this week with a lot of people that I've been speaking with, this idea of trust and how first we have to learn to trust ourselves before we can trust others. And you can see someone who does not trust themselves because, they don't have the integrity, or they start to lie even just a little bit. And that is so prevalent in our world right now, this living authentically and learning how to truly trust ourselves.
Yeah,
Lisa, and I think that's really the foundation of living rich.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, one of my very favorite books, maybe my favorite book ever written, is a book very popular. You've both heard of it, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. I'm a big believer in that. Nobody works for me at my law firm without reading that book. We shut down at least once or twice every year, and we spend all day talking about the 7 habits. My staff would say we spend all day, Mark, blabbing about the 7 habits, but I just can't stop talking about them. And as you know, the first 3 habits really deal with yourself, right?
Yeah.
You got to get yourself independent, away from dependence before you can be interdependent with other people. So if you can't get yourself squared away, you can't really talk about good relationships with other people and changing the world and these kinds of things. But I think that none of us should spend every waking moment on improving the world. We got other things that we got to do, right? We're parents, we're friends, we have all kinds of other obligations. But to the extent that you have some time to try to improve the world, and everybody should carve out some time to do something in this realm. I think that Live and Let Live is the best project. I'm spending 100% of my time on it. There really isn't any global peace movement, and this blew me away when I first researched it. There really isn't a global peace movement right now in the world. And so we decided to start this global peace movement based on the right principles. And I will tell you, there's a legal principle and a moral principle. I first always talk about the moral principle because I think it's very important. But
Mark. So if you were to give me a tagline of what Live and Let Live is, so we understand the moral and the legal. So I understand it's a global peace movement. How is it showing up in the world? Like, I know that it's in 20 countries. I'm just trying to understand it for me. And I feel like once I get it, sometimes I'm just like, I need to, like, I'll ask questions only because I'm not grasping it. So how did it come about? So you're a criminal lawyer.
I like to say criminal defense lawyer, but
criminal defense lawyer.
I say criminal lawyer, it depends.
I don't really know much about the industry. So
I've spent about almost 30 years now thinking about the law. And I had an opportunity to go back through it all. After about 25 years of practicing law, I wanted to get admitted in Hawaii. And in Hawaii, you got to take the bar exam again. So after 25 years of practice, I had the really awesome opportunity of studying all of American jurisprudence in virtually every area. And it gave me a very good opportunity to think deeply about our laws. What's good about it? What's bad about it? What needs to be changed? And I've also been thinking, somebody who's very interested in freedom and peace. And it occurred to me that really our main problem here is that what we do is we try to put our own personal views into the law. What you might say our moral views or our ethical views. Now, many of these I agree with. But the problem is when you do this, we're in an endless fight like this about who's going to impose their moral views on others through the law. For example, there are people in the world who think that a woman outside without a headscarf on is a huge problem and a moral problem, and they want to put that rule into the law. Now, there are a couple ways I can deal with this. One way I can deal with this is say, sorry, my morality is better than your morality. Mine goes in the law, yours doesn't. Okay, I don't think this is a good approach because this is going to end up like this forever. And that's where we are now. We're all fighting to get control of the law, to force other people to live in ways that we think they should live. The other option is to say to this person, look, I'm not making any judgment about your morality here. Maybe we could talk about it, but for the sake of freedom and peace, all of us have agreed to pull our morality and our ethical views out of the law. Now, to be fair about it, even the rule against murder is based on a moral principle, right? So any judgments we make here actually are moral ideals. But there are basic sort of common denominator type ideas across all moral views. And I would describe this as don't be an aggressor. Somebody who initiates force against another person or fraud or coercion or somebody who does something to put another person in danger. Virtually all moral codes say, you know what, we agree that you shouldn't be able to do. And our position in the Live and Let Live movement is that's where we draw the line. That's basically where you interfere with another person. So what we want to do is calibrate all of the laws of the world to be in harmony with what we call our moral principle, which we describe as simply don't be an aggressor. And so if you're aggressing, this should always be illegal. If you're not aggressing, well, you might be doing something that we find personally offensive or immoral or unwise or unhealthy or something like that, but it shouldn't be illegal. But that doesn't mean we can't say things about ethical views or moral views. In fact, we in the Live and Let Live movement have some suggestions about how people should run their lives. You're completely free to disregard them. We call our moral principle, we describe it with the phrase, just simply be a good human. Now, most people have a pretty good idea what this means. If you had a decent parent, you should have some concept, but we break it down by what we call the aspirational values. I'll lay them out for you. Things like open-mindedness. Try to be open-minded on all issues at all times. Be available to be influenced and change your views if you're wrong about something. Tolerance towards other people. People live differently. They have other views. Some are religious, some aren't. Some eat healthy, some don't. Whatever. Let's be tolerant towards other people. Voluntary kindness. We want to encourage people to be kind towards other people, but in a voluntary way. Forced charity isn't kindness at all. We want real kindness, the kind that you don't have to engage in, that you do because it's the right thing. We think civility towards other people is important. Even if we disagree, we should do so in an agreeable way. Let's not call each other names and be at each other's throats. Let's act like the adults in the room. Also, justice is an important concept. Very critically, especially in today's world, we are committed to truth, whatever the truth is, whatever direction the truth and the facts send us, that's where we want to go. And we're interested in rational thought, rational inferences from those truths that we find. And also, as I said earlier, building high levels of trust with other human beings. We care about this stuff because in the moral realm, our goals are to optimize human happiness and well-being and to minimize suffering. So that's our moral principle. And so we act with the moral principle to inspire people, not to force them. In fact, we make the very important point that you are absolutely entitled to live in a closed-minded, intolerant, unkind, uncivilized type of a way if you choose. We don't recommend it, but we would defend your right to act that way so long as you don't violate the legal principle and you're not an aggressor. If you're not an aggressor, that's all the law can ask for you. But we are trying to inspire people to act in ways consistent with the values we just laid out. If we can rally around those ideas, we actually could get to peace while still celebrating differences between other people.
So that was a lot. I get the gist. So let's just say, well, that sounds cool, right? That sounds like something I would want to be involved in, right? So how does one become involved? Is it something that you work with through organizations? Is it an organization that's for the public to join? Individuals can say, hey, this is something I want to do. Does somebody start, I don't know, a sector or a division in their community? Like, I'm just trying to dissect to see
how do we embody
right. How do we take this concept and grow with it and help this whole vibe grow?
Yeah, awesome questions. The first thing I like to tell people is own the message. Understand what it is we're saying, how it works. Second thing we tell people is live the message. Don't just talk about being a good human, actually live the message. And so if you're doing both of those things, we say join the movement, which means go to liveandletlive.org. Check the box that says, yes, I agree with this legal principle, this moral principle. I want to be a member of Live and Let Live.
So you become a member. Okay, we're getting there. I'm understanding. So you become a member. And what does that entail?
It's free to become a member. You check the box, give us your email address and your name so we can stay in touch with you. The main goal of virtually what should be any movement is to win hearts and minds. When we have enough people, we'll have enough clout to get things done. And it's growing right now around the world. For the person who wants to do more, we say start a chapter. This is very important.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Start a chapter and like I said, we have over 30 chapters right now around the world, which basically means, look, run a meeting once a month, invite people to a chapter meeting. We show up. I appeared in Nigeria not too long ago. I appeared in Poland not too long ago. They're running their own meetings. Portugal has a very active group of over 200 people in their chapter. So start a chapter. That's another thing people can do. Become a leader. We haven't identified yet the founders of the Live and Let Live movement. We're waiting for people to step up and say, you know what? I want to make this thing my movement.
I love it. I think it's great. You know, so my umbrella company, I have a Flip Your Script coaching program, and I'm the founder of the whole program, but Yum Life Ventures is the umbrella company, and Yum Life is all about growing a life you love and loving yourself in it, right? Finding that umami, that sweet spot. But so our first Yum Life destination is here in Weeki Wachee. We bought an old rundown motel and turned it into this incredible everyday retreat where people come. And the one rule we have is be kind, right? It's all about breeding and growing kindness. So I love this concept so much that I'd love to have a conversation with you outside of here and see about starting a chapter right here at Manatee Landing Retreat in Weeki Wachee, because everybody that comes and stays with us, we've had over, in 1 year, we have over 1,800 families that are now connected to us.
Yeah, what we're really saying is we want the reasonable people of the world to get together around this sort of idea that
there you go. I'm offering a place for people to start a chapter right here in Florida. And if you would like to come, I'm inviting you. Awesome. And I could learn more. We can embody that concept because we're already doing it. And I like the fact that there's a little legal element, that there's some changes that can be made, down the line. So
yeah, the concept is look, the world is getting in some ways more dangerous too, because technology is now enabling smaller groups of people to do larger amounts of harm. We have lots of serious threats coming up that we got to get our brains around and deal with. Things like synthetic biology, things like artificial intelligence. We still have nukes all over the world. I mean, this horrible situation going on right now in the Ukraine, we're all standing watching because Russia has nukes. And we got to deal with this problem because small numbers of people could now destroy the world. So what we're trying to do is win hearts and minds by getting what we call the reasonable people of the world to come together around this concept that we just call, look, live and let live. They're both very important ideas, right? Live your life. And I just want to put a little plug in. We have many life coach type people involved in Live and Let Live. And we've decided we may very well form a Live and Let Live life coaching project. So where people come in and they get trained on how to, you guys may want to be a part of this. It seems like it's right up both of your alley. After I heard you talking, you could be part of this, where we're teaching people to live the message, to live their lives and live the Live and Let Live message. And so we're also a 501c3. People can donate. Obviously, money's important to get the message out. I've written, with the help of a Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals judge, a new constitutional amendment that we think would really rock the House as the movement grows. We're planning to run people for political office. I am running for the United States Senate in Arizona. I'm working to get on the ballot right now. And if people ask me, Mark, what are you for? I'm for Live and Let Live. Everything I do, I'm going to use every inch of discretion and power that I have to affect the laws of the world to be in harmony with the Live and Let Live principle. And I want to inspire people to adopt the Live and Let Live moral principle, right? To live these values of being a good human, everything I can possibly do. That's what I would do as a United States Senator. And the goal here is to have people all over the world running as Live and Let Live, men and women, and whatever party they're in, it doesn't matter. We're all pushing the same kind of an idea because we really have got to get together. I don't want to say we're running out of time, but I worry about the future if the reasonable people of the world can't get a handle on the things.
I have to ask you, Mark, and this might be a little bit charged. What do you mean when you say the reasonable people?
What I mean is, to me, reasonable people say, you know what, aggression is wrong, okay? And I can defend this by saying what reason means is your tool is conversation, not force, okay? And so that's exactly what we're pushing in the law. The only place to disagree with the message that we're putting out is to say, look, I like aggression. I want to aggress against other people for this reason or that reason. Because we're always against aggression in all cases, whether the aggression comes from an individual, a group, a corporation, or a government. Nobody should aggress against anybody for any reason at all. I don't aggress against anybody in my life. I don't think either of you needs to do that, nor should we accept this from a corporation, any group, or a government.
I get that. So let's get back to inspiration, because that's what I'm all about, flipping the script. So let's focus on what we do want. So when you say that this group is designed and created to inspire individuals to recognize that really being a kind human being to yourself first, then emanates out into the world, and that's how change starts. How in your organization would you inspire? Like how would somebody be inspired to be part of this movement? Aside from the fact that yes, you have the morals are intact, and the philosophy and the concept behind it is definitely something that I would want to water and fertilize and cultivate in my life, in the world that I live. But when you say inspire people, so how does that inspiration come about?
Well, I think first we're looking for people who have this sort of an itch, if you will, to try to improve the world, right? Not just crab about it and be upset about things, but have some desire to say, you know what, at the end of my life, I want to look back and say, I did something while I was here to try to improve the world, leave it better than I found it. Those are the people we're looking for. And then we inspire them really with the moral principle. We lead with this principle. And now we're talking about it in terms of bring out the best new version of you. I bring out a new version of Mark Victor all the time. I try to improve myself all the time. We inspire other people to do exactly the same thing. And so, like I said, we have a lot of life coach type people in this, and we're really trying to get people to say, you know what, not only should I be the best possible human I can be, but I want to also inspire other people to be the best humans they can do. And in terms of the law, I'm not going to try to use the law to force my views on other people. The only thing I'm trying to do with the law is to say, look, you got to live and let live. You got to you shouldn't aggress against other people. That's what it means. When you aggress against another person, you're taking control of their body or property or money or time. What we're saying is you shouldn't do that through the law. If you want to get other people to change, you got to inspire them to change. You got to bring the right values.
Like being the change that you want to see in the world.
This is what we mean by live the message. We say, look, don't just quack about being a good human. Go out and do something to be a good human. So we're envisioning live and let live charities, right? Because there are things that are charitable in the law that we want to take out of the law, but we still want to get it done. We don't want to get it done through forcing anybody to be charitable. We want to inspire people to be charitable. We want to increase the economy so people can live better standards of living, so they have more disposable income to help those who are less fortunate. There are less fortunate people in the world, and we should help them. What we shouldn't do is force other people to help them. We should inspire other people to help them. If we can pare the law down to the basic idea that what I say all reasonable people should agree on, because reasonable people don't initiate force against other people. They don't aggress. They try to convince them with reason, with conversation. That's what we're trying to do. So the place to disagree with us is to say, no, I'm an aggressor. I have things I want to accomplish, and I'm willing to take your money or to force you to get involved to do it. We say, while we may agree with the goals, we don't agree with the means of forcing other people to do things they don't want to do.
Yeah.
So what brought you to the Blue Talks? I'm just curious. I mean, you have a huge vision, lots going on. I understand that, there's a message that you have, but personally, what inspired you? Like what attracted you to Blue Talks?
I was very fortunate to meet Corey. We were both part of a different group called the C-Suite Network, which is another awesome group of people. And so I met Corey there, and we got to talking, and I can't speak for him, but I can speak for me. Loved the guy the second I met him. From the smile on his face when you meet the guy, which is infectious, to everything he said, I think we clicked immediately. And he said, you know what, Mark, I do this thing called Blue Talks, and I'd love to have you involved. And I said, you know what, this is the kind of guy I want to be involved with. Still trying to convince him to do a chapter up in Canada. We've got already 1 or 2 chapters in Canada, but he's exactly the kind of person we want to attract to the movement. So he invited me to get involved with Blue Talks, and this also seems like a wonderful group of people. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the kinds of people who really can move the world forward, to inspire them on this basic idea of the legal principle and a much more expansive idea of the moral principle, right? Bring your own spin to it. The values I put out there is what we lawyers call a non-exhaustive list. That's not everything. There are other things to talk about. They're, like you say, be kind, right? Be kind to yourself. Trust yourself. Okay, I didn't specifically say that, but that absolutely is included in being a good human. You should.
I think it starts there. I mean, my personal opinion is we show up in the world from the inside out.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yes, I agree.
Circling back, Mark, to what you were saying about now is the perfect time to be alive is because we have movements like this, like Live and Let Live, that are formulating and taking off in the world. And I know a couple other movements that are similar. They have a similar type of vibe of like healing yourself first so you can be of service to the world, to bring peace, to bring love, to raise the consciousness of our entire community. And that is what it being present here today in this lifetime is about and where we're heading. So that's why it's so important to join movements like this and to support them, because this is where we're going as a collective.
Yeah, we need to get together. I mean, look, the humans who lived before us did a better job advancing the law, advancing sort of morality. They've got us to a point where we live pretty comfortable. We live better than the richest kings lived just a few hundred years ago. We can now really expand things. We've got technology that's never existed before. Look at how we can speak like this from different parts of the country without any problem at all.
Absolutely.
I released a podcast that we're doing called The Peace Radicals today with a fellow in India we had a conversation with. And so, look, it's the best time right now to start a new movement, because in my lifetime, this moment right now, we've never seen a moment where people on the right and on the left are all frustrated, right? Whether you're an R or you're a D, you're probably pretty cranky with how things are going. People can't talk to each other. The world is adrift right now. And so this is a perfect time to come out with something new. People sometimes are negative. They say, oh, Mark, the world is in such a horrible spot. And I say, yes, but it's a perfect time to launch a new global peace movement. This is the time where people are most interested in something new. Let's present them with something new, something based on the right principles, the right values. Let's attract good quality people to this movement and actually try to get it done in our new community, which is the globe. That's our new community, whether you like it or not. Look, what we just learned from the coronavirus is somebody in China did something that affected the whole world. So you can just say, look, I don't want to be a globalist. I only care about my community. But this isn't living in reality today. Our community is now the entire planet. Because
and maybe it's timely, because really humans are humans, and what country you live in and what language we speak and what traditions we have, really at the root of who we are as humans, we have the same love, right? We all are looking for love. We are looking to love ourselves.
Yeah, another very important point I really would like to make is our movement is, we like to call it post-racial. We don't care about the color of your skin. We don't care who you love. We don't care if you're rich or poor, male or female, where you were born, what foods you eat, if you're religious or non-religious. We see everybody as brothers and sisters. We need to unite around our common humanity. Because as you say, the more you travel around the world and the more you meet people, the differences are interesting. But what you find is how similar we are. Yes, we're very, very similar. We need to get over all these ridiculous ideas about first, what color is your skin? And now we go from there. We don't care about that. We focus on content of character. We want our movement to be the shining example of getting past all this stuff, because we can't get past it until we actually get past it. So in our movement, we don't care about what package you come in. We care about what's on the inside. That's what we're pushing.
I love it. Listen, Mark, so we're coming to a little bit towards the end of this amazing interview. I want to thank you for everything that you're doing. It's amazing. And I think once you start movements like this, you're creating opportunities for people to have new experiences as well. And experiences are what teach, right? An experience and an opportunity to have a conversation with somebody on the other side of the world, where maybe you're living in a more secluded area and hadn't had the opportunity to have these conversations. So it opens up so much more for an individual. It's expansive. And so I commend you on the efforts that you're putting forth, because it takes effort. I know.
I don't want to anything. I certainly don't want to take all the credit here.
Well, you don't have to. I'm just giving you the credit for showing up and being the voice. Okay. You can share that credit with whoever you want to share the credit with. But I do want to ask you something, because this is really important. And I think that you're going to leave us with a really good one. So I do ask all of our guests to leave us with a mind seed. And a mind seed is a neutral intention, a seed. So we have thought weeds and mind seeds. Thought weeds are what we would call, being very judgmental and having very fixed way of thinking, and, those kind of things that you mentioned earlier. So when you pull a thought weed, sometimes we leave a space, and we're so focused on the things that we don't want that we have lost sight of what we really do want to see and what we do want to have grow in our lives. So a mind seed is maybe a thought or a perspective that you could share with our audience and our viewers now, and the ones that are going to be watching the replay as well, that when they really want to start to flip their script, they could plant this new perspective as a seed of thought, because the seeds of thought we sow do grow. So I'd love for you to share a mind seed with us.
I'm on it. So
okay.
You said my favorite word twice, the word perspective. I think the concept of perspective is the most important concept that you can possibly get, because people should understand you actually are in charge of your perspective. This notion that, like my wife says, we have first world problems, right? So we get caught up in our problems and we get all this, and my Lexus is broken or something like that. When you have the right perspective, if you recognize that you're in charge of your own perspective, the fact that your Lexus is broken, you say, look, I'm not worried about my kid getting enough drinking water today. The fact that my Lexus is broken, I'm very privileged to have such a problem. So I would encourage people to take charge of themselves. If you don't take charge of yourself, you shouldn't be talking about freedom from external sources, because you're the cause of your own problems. We all are if you read the book, Viktor Frankl wrote a great book, Man's Search for Meaning here, where he took charge of his own perspective, his own attitude while in Auschwitz during Nazi Germany's control. If he can do that there, we can do that here right now. Take charge of your own attitude about who you are and what you're about. You are 100% in charge of how you react to everything happening out in the world.
I love it. Yeah, you are in charge of how you show up or how you react or respond. That's a perfect mind seed, because really it's nice to know that really we're in charge of our own lives. It's even though it's harder and more difficult in some areas, it is a lot easier than trying to change someone else.
And that's
not sustainable, right?
It's actually true. In fact, I encourage people to meditate. If you meditate, you can actually see some of this. You actually can see thoughts coming through. And you know what? I'm going to select this attitude going forward. I'm going to choose to be happy on Friday. And we celebrate Happy Monday, Happy Tuesday. This is how I open every single court session. Everybody else says, good morning, Your Honor. I start with, Happy Tuesday, Judge. And people look at me like, what's this guy so happy about? I'm happy to be alive.
Oh, I love that so much. I love hearing your message. And, how can people learn more about Live and Let Live?
Good question, easy. Lisa.
We're working on a really world-class website right now. It should be up in about a month or two. But for the moment, we have a temporary website up. Just go to liveandletlive.org. You can always get in touch with me through that. My direct email is my law firm email, which is just Marc, M-A-R-C, at attorneysforfreedom.com. All spelled out, attorneys and then F-O-R, freedom.com. If you really want to be more involved in this huge effort, and I want to let you know, this isn't something we're doing for the fun of it. This is a very serious, very committed group of people that are intent on change. We're hell-bent, actually, on changing the world and getting us on the right track. We're not going to stop until this happens.
I get that vibe, Marc. I definitely get that vibe. If your intention was to get that across, you nailed it. You stuck the landing.
We're very serious about it. This isn't something we're just goofing off of. If you're serious about helping to be part of the solution instead of just complaining about the problem, check out Live and Let Live. If you like what you see there, contact me, start a chapter, donate money, get a cool t-shirt. There's lots of things you can do. I'd love to hear from you. Don't just sit around idly and wish the world was better. Do what you can do to actually make it better.
Listen, Mark, so we share this interview on many platforms. Blue Talk's Flip Your Script Experience group on Facebook is the main platform. However, YouTube, LinkedIn, reach out to Corey because he's actually in the back of the house sharing this right now. And in the comments where we're sharing this interview, please leave your contact information, because people who are watching now, like I didn't even remember all of what you just said, and then people who come back from and watch the replay, when they scroll in the comments, your contact information will be there.
I'll do it for sure.
Awesome. So appreciate you, Mark. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy being your dad and the family. Say hi to your wife, even though I never met her. She sounds like an awesome woman.
Yeah, people don't want to talk to me after they meet her. She's much smarter. She's more fun. She has a better personality.
Well, it's a good time. It's a good thing you got your play now. It's a good thing you got your airtime now before we meet her.
It was a real honor meeting. Yeah, real honor meeting you both. It was a wonderful interview. Thanks for everything the two of you are doing. I know in my heart you two would be excellent fits for Live and Let Live. I hope you get involved. We blast it like this. This is it's the shaka. It comes from Hawaii. It means live the aloha spirit. And the aloha spirit means exactly the same thing as live and let live, which means the same thing as live the golden rule, and so many other phrases that we all love. Treat others how you would have them treat you. Same idea.
Thank you so much for spending your precious time with us today.
Thank you guys.
I look forward to hearing more and learning more about your organization for sure. Yes. Live and let live.
Awesome.
Aloha.
Yeah. Peace,
we're saying aloha, but Corey's behind in the back, so you might be on, and you could hang out with us until our next guest comes on, or if you need to go and do something, you can hop on off. And Lisa and I am sure we'll find something to chat about.
Corey's already living the aloha spirit. That man just exudes everything we've talked about here today.
Absolutely, he's an awesome guy.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. I've got another one to go to. I hope you guys reach out and we can work together to try to bring this message to the world.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thanks, guys. Peace.
Hello.
Hello. I'm so excited to be with you today.
I'm excited to be with you today. Even though we've never met, I'm just still excited to be with you today.
Well, I so appreciate being invited to share today.
Well, welcome to the Blue Talks Flip Your Script Experience stage. My name is Elise, as you know. And Lisa, do you know Diana?
I do not, no.
Okay, so we're going to get to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. So first question I ask is, where in the world are you, Diana?
I am in beautiful Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Oh, my goodness. Close. You're getting closer to the Florida, Wiki Wachi, Florida.
Yeah. So I keep thinking I need to make a trip to Florida. I've got so many connections and friends that are in Florida. I need to just make a road trip.
Okay. Well, let me know. Definitely let me know when you're making the road trip. Chapel Hill's beautiful. Is that near Apex?
It is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I have a really good friend that's in Apex. So
it's the Raleigh-Durham. It's the Raleigh-Durham area. Like University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill is 10 minutes from my house. It's a big university, college area.
Yeah.
Is that where you're from originally?
No, I'm actually from Columbus, Ohio.
Oh.
Wow. Okay. So then, we dig a little, how do you have family, children? We want to get to know a little bit more about you.
Tell us your story.
Yeah, I have two. I have two grown children, two grand dogs, no grandchildren. And that's okay. I am so proud of my kids. They're very amazing and wonderful. Unfortunately, because they live in Ohio, I only see them a couple times a year.
Mm-hmm. Well, welcome. So what brought you to the Blue Talk stage, Diana?
Well, actually, I met Corey a couple years ago at the New Media Summit.
Okay.
And I was there. The New Media Summit, as you ladies might know, is an opportunity to pitch the podcasters.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like a podcaster guest matchmaker sort of thing. And I met Corey there. And then right after that, maybe 6 months after that, I hosted my own live stream. And I had Corey come in as one of my speakers, on my live stream. So we've been connected. I'm writing a chapter I have a chapter that's due here in about 3 weeks. So I guess I better get writing. So that's kind of, I reconnected with Corey and came to the speaker boot camp, and I'm part of a book that's coming up soon.
So wait, okay. So you said you better get writing. I heard you say that.
Yeah.
So I guess we could start with like that story. I mean, if you're going to share the story in a book, that probably is not that we want you to like, tell us the whole thing, but just a little teaser of like what inspired where you're at right now.
Yeah, well, I this idea of what my chapter should be about actually came from a breakout session from the speaker boot camp. And, because
Is it speaker boot camp?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I was in that too.
Yeah. So, when we had a breakout session, we were sharing like our story, and what came to me is the fact that books saved my life. People will ask me, why do you work with authors? And my company's Business Book Partners. So I work with entrepreneurs, speakers, and business leaders that have a big message that they want to get out. And they know that this is the time for them to do that. But why is that so important, right? That's a question I dig with my clients like all the time. Like, what's the big why behind this? Whatever it is you want to write, what's behind it? Not the head answer, but the heart answer. The head answer might be there's not very much information out about this, or it's confusing, or everything's written from an academic perspective. I want to write it, blah, 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 blah. Well, is that a head answer or is that a hard answer?
Yeah, I know for myself, I'm an author and I wrote my own book that came out in 2020, and I wrote it for me. Everyone asks, what's your favorite book you've ever read? And I always say my own book because it was my own journey, right? My own journey to healing, my own journey to learning, my own journey of my voice being put out into the world. And so when you write a book, you have to have that, like you said, that heart connection of why are you doing this? And if it's not, partly for yourself, then your readers will see that.
Wait, what is the name of your book?
My book is called An Infinite Love.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Coming home to yourself and self-accountability, self-assuredness, putting yourself out there in the world, learning to love who you are.
Oh, I love that. I wrote a book for me too, but I'll talk about it later because this is all about you, Diane.
Yes.
Well, and the reason that dropped in like books saved my life.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
It goes back, and sometimes it's hard for us to be vulnerable. It took me a long time to be comfortable sharing the story that I grew up as the oldest of 6 in an alcoholic home.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, when I'm sharing, I get a lot of head nods because people can resonate with that. Yeah. But as the oldest of 6 in growing up in that kind of environment, I found myself trying to shelter my younger siblings from the emotional, not so much physical, but the emotional abuse and turmoil that went on in our home. So I learned pretty early to be quiet, like try to keep the peace, organize things so that we didn't disrupt any more than we needed to. And so when I was in the 5th grade, I had this amazing teacher named Mrs. Lloyd. And she was amazing. And I grew up in I would call it a village, right? 2,000 people counting the livestock, right? A really little rural community in Southern Ohio. And she was just the most amazing teacher. And I can remember at the end of my 5th grade year, everybody was so excited about summer, right? Vacation. And I'm just going to hang out at the pool and I'm going to do this. And I was really sad because like school was my life.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't get to see Mrs. Lloyd that summer. Right.
Right.
And I was deep in contemplation or thinking about what my summer was going to be like. And I heard something drop on my desk, and I looked up, and there she was, smiling, Mrs. Lloyd. And I took my grade. Nobody really cared about my grades, you know. And it was probably a couple weeks before I looked at it, and she had written on the back of my grade card 2 words: excellent work, exclamation point. I still have that grade card over here in my bookcase. And when I and it was all about like that year, I buried myself into schoolwork. Like, books literally saved my life that year. And when I rewound to what was happening at home in that year, it was the year that my youngest brother was born. And that was not joyful for me as the oldest. There was one more.
I was like, oh my gosh, here we go, add another
one
one
more, like one more little person that I need to shelter, right? Or try. I mean, when you're 8 years old, you don't realize that you can't do that, right? There's no way that you could shelter your siblings from that life situation, but you think you can, or you try to.
That's a lot of weight on a child's shoulders.
Yeah, and so Mrs. Lloyd was like the first person, I will just say this, like the first person that taught me that I could be bigger than my circumstance.
Oh, I love her. I love this teacher of yours.
Oh, she was so amazing. And I actually went back. It was so important when I connected the dots to what was happening at home that year that I was in her grade, in 5th grade. I reached out to her because, as I said, I go back to Ohio for Christmas every year, and I started reconnecting with her every December. And first we met at restaurants, and then she was deteriorating, and she said, can you come to the farm? Because she was on oxygen. So I would just go, and she would reminisce. She was so still engaged in the school system. Still, her daughter is a school nurse. Her grandson lived with them. Like, she was so immersed in the education system and so caring about the kids in the community, even though she had retired. And I had the honor of seeing her a few days before she passed, and being able to tell her again what the difference she'd made to me.
Well, actually, she planted that seed, and you're carrying on her legacy, like big time, and you're doing it in a way that's so brilliant, because you're actually the hub. And I don't even know what Business Book Partners is, but I'm assuming that you are encouraging others. So you're actually growing this huge group of, like, beyond this one teacher, right? And beyond the great work or excellent work.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, when it's recognizing that we all have a powerful story. Just as Lisa was saying, we have something to share with the world. And sometimes the question is, will I do it? I am on this side of the transformation. I have come this far. I have learned these things. There are people behind me that don't know what I know. So the question is not, do I have something to share? The question is, will I step up? Because this is a sobering thought, is that there are people waiting for our message, and they can only hear it from us.
Yeah.
Because our story, our background, what we bring to the table is going to resonate with them in a deeper way than reading somebody else's book, because it's Lisa's story. It's what she went through. There are people attracted to that resonate with her, and that she can bring into her business by virtue of the fact she's sharing that.
Absolutely.
Ooh, I just got chills. That's such a powerful message for everyone to hear, that your story is worth sharing, and because someone needs to hear it.
So can you tell us a little bit more about Business Book Partners?
Sure.
Now that we know what inspired, the whole love for books.
And ladies, it takes us a while to kind of connect the dots. of how our background and like this story with Mrs. Lloyd, it's just how she shaped my life and how I am able to help other people. One of the most joyful parts of what I do is being part of the ripple effect of
That's
that
what I was getting at, right?
that
Like
big
you're
message
like,
being out there in the world and watching somebody who maybe wasn't 100% sure they could do this, get through this whole process. So I actually work with a lot of authors are at the beginning, like they know this is the time. There's this message in here. There's this calling. There's something, the nudge, sometimes it's a nudge and then we get the 2x4. They know it's the time. Like it's bigger than them. They know like this is the time. They've got an idea, even if it's vague, but they have no idea how do they write the book? How do they publish the book? How do they launch the book? And then how do they leverage the book to get to whatever the result is that they want? If they want to attract more people into their business, which is what most of my clients want to do, then the way my brain works is I reverse engineer. Okay, if this is the result we want to be on bigger podcasts, we want to create a course or a program, we want to have a mastermind, we want to get on bigger stages, this is what we want. Then my brain kind of reverse engineers to, all right, then these are the people we need to connect with while we're writing. These are we need to go research podcasts that we can be on. We need to figure out how we're going to connect with that dream endorser that we want, for the book, and mentoring, walking this path with them, no matter what happens from the beginning to the very end.
Oh my gosh. As an author, having gone through this process, if only I'd met you, when I started writing my book, because this is exactly what people need. Because the publishing world, the author world is a very big unknown if you've never been in it before. And to have someone like you, an angel like you, to kind of, okay, this is where we're going to go. Let me hold your hand here. Let's reach out to this. We want to do this. Such a blessing. Such a blessing.
Absolutely. I know personally, so I'll just jump. So I wrote a book about me. I was having a self-concept meltdown at the age of around 40 because I had a culinary background, a brand architect. I had all these, I've always been an entrepreneur and a solopreneur. So there's all of these different things. And life to me, being a visionary in a world of limitless possibilities may sound really cool, but comes with a lot of challenges.
Almost too much freedom. I'm the same way.
Well, there's so many choices. And when you see so big and grand, anyway, so I was having this, who am I? Am I a chef? Am I a designer? Am I, what am I? And I thought, if somebody told me that I already was everything that I thought I needed to be validated to be, or I needed a degree to be, or I needed to grow up to be when I was younger, I wouldn't have a self-concept meltdown now. So I wrote a little children's book called I Already Am. And it's about a little girl who goes through this journey. And at the end, she just realizes she already is everything that she thinks she needs to grow up to be and be validated to be. But I self-published. Big mistake. I self-published with a self-publishing company that was connected to a publishing company. And I didn't know that once I got an ISBN number that they wouldn't even touch it. They loved the book, but because it was already published, it was off the table at the time. So I didn't like the way it looked, so I really, it's on Barnes & Noble and Amazon right now, but I really just let it go. This is 5 years ago or 6 years ago. And if I would have known, Diana, the process before all of this, it would have been such a gift, and not just to me, but a gift to the world, because I believe that self-concept is huge in everything that we do. And you just told us the story about your teacher. What she did is she planted a seed of strong self-concept in you that you have now taken and grown into, I don't even know what. And so, yes, huge what you're bringing to the table for new authors.
Yeah, I mean, it's having somebody mentor, be there, no matter what happens. Yesterday, I ran my 104th Amazon bestseller campaign.
Wow.
104.
Congratulations.
Things do go sideways. things do happen. Unexpected things happen. And knowing that someone is in the trenches with you, like you are not in this by yourself.
But somebody who knows what they're doing
What
in
they're
the
doing.
trenches.
That has a proven track record.
Yes.
Exactly. You could be in the trenches with somebody just like you, and now what?
Yeah. Yeah. So, what I've discovered over time is that there are a set of really core questions every author should answer to make sure that they're writing the right book to get the result that they want to the audience that they're here to serve.
Now, is that something that you can share 1 or 2 questions? I love to have an interactive platform where people can have takeaways that they can actually apply in their everyday life after this.
Yeah, well, we just kind of touched on this. Like the very first thing that I ask of those 7 questions is, why are you writing this? Why is this message so important to you? Can I give you an example?
Please.
Okay. A few years ago, I met this lady who wanted to write a book about the blending of essential oils. Okay. I don't know a whole lot about blending itself. And I asked her, why is this message so important to you? And she would say, well, there's not very much information out about this. And if you buy some books about essential oils, they're only a paragraph, maybe only 2 sentences. People are afraid of it. They don't know what to blend. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Is that a head answer or is that a hard answer?
Heady to me.
Yeah.
Okay. It's all head answer. And so I kept asking the question trying to get to, what is it about the blending of essential oils that is like, you want to invest this time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears, and money, like to write this book? What is it behind there? And I finally asked, I remember this like it was yesterday. It was a phone conversation. And I said to her, was there a pivotal moment when something happened to you or somebody that you cared about where it became so blatantly obvious to you that this message about the blending of essential oils is bigger than you and you have to share it? And there was this pregnant, awkward pause. And then she said this: my husband was diagnosed with leukemia. It's the 3rd day of his treatment, and they haven't told me anything. I don't know whether he's going to live or die. I'm not even sure how I got to the hospital, but somehow I got out of my car and I got to the elevator and I pushed a button and I got up to the 4th floor and I got into his room, and the nurses and the doctors are rushing around. They still haven't told me anything. And for some reason, I decided to pull those little gripper socks off his feet. And what I saw was a coating, a yellow coating, where the treatment had settled in the soles of his feet. And in that moment, I knew that if I mixed 3 drops of this and 5 drops of that and 3 more drops of this and put it all together, I could massage his feet. That's the only thing I could do in that moment as his wife to help him.
Wow.
So if you were looking for a book on essential oils, and that was the introduction, would that speak to you?
Yes, that's very powerful.
I almost got like a little verklempt.
I mean, it was just so, and I think that maybe that was the first time she connected the dots of why this was so important. Why getting this message out was so important. So, in her introduction, she could, tell it in present tense as if it's happening right now, like we're watching a movie. And then she could shift into, so if you're a caregiver and you're looking for ways to use essential oils to help the person that you're here to care for, this book is for you. Or if you're curious about how you can use essential oils for aromatherapy, this book is for, like, that becomes her jumping off point to introduce us to the content. But without that story, she sounds like, the Charlie Brown teacher in the background, the wah, 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 like we don't have any connection. have any context. We don't know who this person really is. So that's where I always start, is like, why is this so important? Because that's what's going to keep us going when we want to quit.
Mm-hmm. It's the
And
story.
And sometimes I have to go back when they're having a moment, and Lisa maybe had some of these moments where, and maybe you did too, at least when you were writing the book, is like, you have a breakdown. It's like, I can't do this. I who am I to write this? Who's going to read? Like, we have these meltdown moments, sometimes more than once. That's when I have to say, okay, let's go back to why you're writing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the going back now, like for I Already Am, is it needs to be told. Self-concept growing up is key. Like, this is everything that we're talking about here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every single story, every single organization, every single person that I have the pleasure of interviewing, it's the same thing. It comes down to recognizing our value, trusting ourselves, right, Lisa? Recognizing that we are of value. And I think that when a child recognizes that they're of value, then when they open their mouth and every move and every action they take, they know they're making an impact. But if somebody doesn't recognize that they matter, then their actions don't matter. Mm-hmm. And so to have a book out there for parents, really it was a children's book for parents to read to their child, to recognize that your child already is everything that you are pushing them to be, or wanting them to become, or needing them to change for. And so I think for me, having somebody like you, and I'll probably be calling you, this has been a week of reaching out to my guests. Like, this is the first, I feel so blessed. I'm like, wow, this week was really designed by the universe for all of these like little missing pieces of the puzzle that I've made set the intention for, like really filling in, because it is important for us to recognize that we matter. If your teacher didn't come to you and tell you how excellent you were, who knows, what would have unfolded. And the same for you, Lisa, going through this process and this process with yourself and writing this story to yourself. Mm-hmm. I mean, I wrote the story to me. It was really like a story about my little girl who was searching to be validated, to finally be something. And then I decided, well, then I could just say I'm a children's book author. And I never even tell anyone I am. Like, that was in my head. I'm like, I'll just put everything that I ever did that I already was into a book. And I'll just tell people I'm a children's book author. And the funny thing is that a lot of people don't even know I wrote a book. So it is important to have that message, because you never know who you're going to touch. You could touch the adult or the child or your inner child.
Diana, how do you encourage your clients, your authors, to keep going? Because there were so many days when I sat at my computer and I'm like typing like J, because like nothing was coming. And I recognize part of that was like fear and ego, a little ego in there. But when that happens for your authors and your clients that you work with, how do you encourage them to keep moving forward on their path of storytelling?
That's a great question.
Yeah, everybody's on there. Well, here's the thing, and I know you ladies know this, writing a book is a personal development journey, right? Because we are clarifying our message and we're writing from the heart, and things are coming up. I have had authors write things about tragedy that happened in their life, losing their husband who was diagnosed with stage 4, and she couldn't even she didn't really understand. She thought, well, we'll just fix it, right? We'll just get the hospital bed. Until the doctors looked her in the eye and said, Karen, he's got 6 weeks. Until they said at that point, like, my authors are writing about some really deep things with an eye towards how do I help that person that doesn't know what I know. So it is a personal development journey. And it is, when we hit that place where we don't really know, or we're stopped, we got to reach out and get help and find someone who can hold the space that can listen to, so Lisa, what are you feeling right now? What's going, what exactly, this, sometimes all you need someone to listen. And if you say, I just can't write today, I just can't. just like nothing's coming to me. Give you permission. Okay, don't write today.
That
Don't
give
write.
you permission piece. It's hard.
So when did Business Book Partners, when was she born?
Oh, I have actually been working with authors since 2010. So it's been a while. My background is my corporate background is in the banking space. And so it's kind of I'm an unusual mix of, in my corporate career, I was very highly, almost every assignment was project management. The bank that I worked with was purchased by Chase. So we were used to, we were the bank that was acquiring. So we were the ones, I was on the corporate jet going to this bank that we just bought in Lexington, Kentucky, where the head of acquisitions was going his way. And I'm going over to talk to the credit card people because all of their information is coming to our system, right? They didn't have a choice. Now, all of a sudden, we're being purchased by Chase.
So you're on the flip side of it.
Now you're on the other side of the table, and nobody knew who was going to be in charge, the Chase managers or our managers. And so, but one of the things that I did, I actually ran the entire program office for the retail side of Chase, and those projects affected the stock price. So it was very much, the merger was happening. All these things jobs got eliminated, locations got closed, people got relocated. We had this merger that we had to work on. And I found myself wearing 2 pagers, one on each hip, one for my department and one for the merger. But so what I've done, and the reason I tell you that is I've taken that, because all of us are a culmination of all of our skills and experience and training and programs and trying things that didn't work and finding the things that did work. And we bring all of that stuff right to our clients. I've taken that project management methodology and applied it to the book process. So if I were talking to Lisa about her book, we would start with, okay, let me put together a high-level timeline. This is how long to allow for each of these things. This is the earliest that we could launch. How does that feel? How does that fit with your life and your other commitments? So it's a culmination of project management with business coach. I'm a certified business coach I'm also a marketing strategist, and I'm a publishing expert. So all rolled into one, being able to guide people through a proven process. You get on here, 8 months from now, we will come out over here.
So you're like the whole team.
Yeah.
I'm one stop. Like, we do cover design, we do interior formatting, I do the bestseller campaign, work with people on the marketing side of it. And I love it. The first author that came into my world, ladies, was somebody who had a book out. Her book had been out for a year. And she was so disappointed because she sold 57 copies primarily to friends and family. That was not why she wrote the book. But people told her she should write a book because she'd written all these articles for Women's Magazine and write a book. The problem is it wasn't targeted enough. So that experience, I wave this flag of make sure you're writing the right book to get in front of the right audience, your ideal clients in those cases, to get the result that you want at the end. So I have a set of 7 questions, and we were just talking about like why and who. The next question is the who. Who are we writing this for? And being as clear as possible so that you can speak in the language that person's going to understand. So
now,
those are
those questions posted somewhere, or is that part of your program?
I'm happy to share. I have a free resource that shares those 7 questions. And that's where I would say everybody needs to start, because if we don't know the why, the who, what the problem is that we're solving, because we buy nonfiction books to solve a problem, and we don't know what we want to be known for, so at least 25 years from now, someone could pick up your children's book in a thrift store. They're going to see, right? That, I mean, we're leaving a legacy. That's the other sobering thing about this. This book's going to be out here for a long time.
Yeah.
Right.
What is the legacy that we want to leave when we're no longer here?
Do you work with mostly nonfiction books or books of all genres?
Nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
So my clients are writing something tied to their business or tied to their big mission. I've also worked with some retired military folks. They definitely have a big message to share.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if somebody, okay, so yay, I know, where can I find you? Outside of on this stage. I mean, I can go on Messenger right now because I think we're connected, but somebody else who's listening now who has maybe even they're just like thinking, wow, I never really thought about it. Maybe it's something I'd like to do. Where could they find you?
Yep, just go to businessbookpartners.com. That's my website. I also have an entrepreneur author Facebook group called Build Your Business with a Book.
Nice.
Build Your Business with a Book. You can come over and join me there. You could always email me at diana@businessbookpartners.com. Anyone who's thinking they know 2022 is my year. Like, this is my year. Like, I know there's something in here saying it's time. I would be happy to have a conversation. I'd love to hear what the book idea is and see if there's a way that I might be able to serve the folks that have that big message. They just don't know how to get it out.
So I'm going to ask a question for those that may be in a situation where I've been standing and having this book standing probably on self-published shelf. So let's say somebody wrote a book already and they took the wrong path initially. And they were open to make some changes, because that I learned that if you made some changes, you could change your ISBN number. So it's it's really not the same book anymore. Is that a potential client that you would work with, that they've taken the book, they haven't really done anything with it, they weren't, the whole what I just shared with everyone. Because that would be of great interest even to me personally. I just I kind of shelved it. I get a lot of phone calls now from, I don't know if there's companies out there. They're like, I found your book and, we'd like to do something with your book. And honestly, I don't pick up and I don't respond, because I just feel like I don't know why I haven't responded, but like having a conversation with you right now, I feel your authenticity, right? Like, we're face to face, so to speak. And so I really feel like, and also when you write a book, it's really personal. Like, I don't want to just put it in anyone's hands. Now I realize that. And that's why self-publishing for me, I thought was the right avenue at first, because they had the creative license. I could create the book exactly the way it came out of me or through me. So yes, the answer is that if somebody already has a book and they need your guidance.
Yep. I often have people come to me and they want me to help them with their launch, and the book is done, or so they think. So I say, send it over. So they send it over. And generally there are two things that are missing. The heart story is nowhere. Like, there's nothing like that story I just told you about the lady with the essential oils. There's no real heart story. There's nothing to connect to the audience. And there's nothing inside the book that leads the reader to your email list. So what is your call to action? If you're writing a book tied to your business or tied to your big mission, you want to be leading those readers and giving them something else of high value to get them on your email list. The person that cares enough about your topic to come get your guide, your workbook, your meditation, whatever that extra thing is a highly valuable lead that you can then nurture the relationship, follow up, have an email sequence, because this is an asset. This is a marketing asset for your business. And a lot of authors they're not even thinking about that. So I
thought about it, but haven't really done anything. I'm going to be very vulnerable. I haven't done anything with it. I wrote a whole book on how to flip your script from a whole story standpoint. Nobody would know I did that either. So it's about having somebody to say, hey, this is a tool. This is great. Put it together. Again, that buffet,
Yeah.
when you're so busy in the vision and creating, you need somebody like Diana to say,
absolutely.
okay, let's take all of these incredible things that you've created and put them together and cohesively, right?
Yeah.
And then here's your end game.
Right. Yeah. So, if the book is already written, like the first thing I do is I go through it and assess to see, and usually those two things, one or both of those things are missing.
First one is call to action or contact.
Heart story.
Heart story.
Yeah. And then call to action. Like where are we moving these readers? What do we want to do with them? Where are we taking them next? Do you have a course? Do you have a program? Do you want them to come to your Facebook group? Like, what do we want these readers to do? You have no way to stay in contact or be in communication if you don't have their email address.
Diane, I have a question for you. What are one or two books that you've read that have been very influential in your life?
Lisa, that's the best question today.
Think and Grow Rich would be my first choice. I've read that at least 7 times, at least 7 times. And I would say the second book is Covey's 7 Habits.
Oh, it's the second time today we've heard.
Yes.
When I was in the corporate world, for 26 years, I was so blessed to be on the leadership team. And we actually had somebody come in from the Covey Institute that taught those principles. And the whole thing of start with the end in mind. That's what we're talking about here with this book. Start with the end. What is the result that we want? And then everything that we need to do to get, it becomes so clear. But if we don't know where we're headed and what the result that we want, sort of writing in the wind, we think that the skies are going to part and the angels are going to sing and some miracle is going to happen at the end. But we got to start with the end in mind. And that training from Covey, I actually have the workbook. I have all the materials. I still have it from years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this has been incredible. I knew I adored you from when you reached out. I think you reached out to me last night.
I did.
And I was like, I can't wait to meet her tomorrow. Quick question for you. Mind Seed. Did you hear about the thought weeds and the mind seeds? Were you able to hop on a little bit before you came on
I
today?
did listen to a few, but if you could reiterate,
Sure. So when we flipping our script is all about writing, but it's an internal script, right? We all have an internal script and it starts from childhood, right? And our script can be flipped by one teacher telling us that we're excellent. So, but we have a lot of thought weeds, and these thought weeds, when we think of them long enough, turn into these beliefs. But as we start to flip our script and pull the thought weeds, we need to replant. We need to start to restory intentionally with a focus, right? With a goal. Where are we going? And so a mind seed is the seed of thought that we plant in place of the thought weed that we were able to sort of clear and get rid of. So I love to have new perspectives and new seeds of perspective planted from each of our guests. So if you have a mind seed to share with us, that would be wonderful.
I would say my message is important. And it's one of the reasons that I'm here is to share it.
I love it.
I love that
validation, right? So my message is important.
There's a calling. There's a reason that we're here. There are people waiting for the message.
Oh, beautiful.
I love it. Diana, thank you so much. You will be hearing from me personally.
Me too.
probably after 2:00, I'll be reaching out. This has been the week of reaching out to these amazing, amazing thought leaders. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable time with us. Also, as I say to all of our guests, please go to Blue Talk's Flip Your Script Experience group. We're posting this and it's live. We also have the replay there. LinkedIn, YouTube. If you reach out to Corey will let you know what platforms and where this interview is being posted. And in the comments, you can put your contact information. And that contact information will stay there for the length of the archive, right?
Awesome.
For the length. So anytime people want to go back and watch, they can find you.
Okay, awesome. I'll be happy to do that.
And when you come to Florida and you're on your way, reach out.
Yeah, a road trip is on my list for sure.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Diana.
So
Have a great
Diana.
weekend.
All right. You too, ladies. Thank you so much for it's been a delightful conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Wow, just another beauty, huh? And
Whoa.
Here we go. It's like boom, boom,
Go,
boom.
go,
All right.
go.
Everybody take a deep breath in and out. One more time in and out. And one more time in and out. Now we get to hold space for Diane Morton. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Nice to meet you for the very first time.
To talk to you.
Yes.
Do you know each other, Lisa?
No.
No.
Okay.
Everyone. Just meeting.
Just meeting. So Diane, where are you?
I am in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Wow.
And we're actually going to get above freezing today, I think.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we've had that Arctic weather the last few days, and it's been really cold, which doesn't stop the dogs from wanting to go outside, but I certainly don't want to go out.
I'm from Minneapolis, and literally the same thing over here.
Yes. My dad was in the Air Force. We spent 2 years up in Baudette, which is up on the Canadian border.
Really far on the border.
Yes. So I know what snow is.
Yeah, and actually, I know I shouldn't say this. But I do I miss being in the snow. I don't want to live in the snow, but I do miss my cousin posted the snowstorm outside her window today on Facebook, like a little video. There's something very soothing about in the middle of a snowstorm when the snow is falling and that the air is very sort of rich.
Yes.
And I do. I mean, I love Florida. I got out on my paddleboard today and went out, took a dip in the springs, and it's different.
Right.
You know, it's much brighter and lighter and big, but I feel like it's almost like a big blanket, right? A big comforter when you're in the middle of a snowstorm, not when it gets freezing and cold and everything gets muddy and mushy and mucky, but the snow itself. So, so enjoy those moments too.
Oh yes,
as long as you can be warm.
Yeah. Inside with windows.
Inside with windows. So Diane, tell us a little bit about yourself. So you're in Colorado Springs. Is that where you're from originally?
Well, no, I was born in Missouri when my dad was stationed there. Being in the Air Force, I have an older brother and younger sister and younger brother. We were all born in different places. My sister was born in California, my older brother in Oklahoma, and my younger brother in Japan. So we did get to travel quite a bit as kids, and I loved it. We lived in the Philippines for 1.5 years.
How old were you when you were there?
I turned 10 right after we got there. So
you have memories, right?
Memories. Absolutely. We lived off base for a while, and we were right across the street from a sugarcane field. And sometimes we'd go over there, and one of the workers would be there, and he'd cut us some sugarcane. And yeah, it was great. And on the flip side, what I remember is we had to have everything in cans. Nothing could be in bags because roaches were everywhere.
Oh, like the big ones, the big jukey ones. Yeah.
Oh, yes. But, just being there with a different culture is just amazing. And I've lived in different places in the United States. I lived in Nashville for 10 years.
What was that like?
Oh, it was fantastic. I know musicians and songwriters, and I can hear a song on the radio and it's like, oh yeah, I know who wrote that.
Very cool. Very cool.
So, but it was funny. We were turning in the rental truck when we had just moved there, and I was standing in the lobby, just kind of standing here, minding my own business. And this guy kept staring at me. So I finally turned and I looked over at him, and he says, "Good afternoon. How are you?" And I said, "Oh, I'm fine. How are you?" He says, "Oh, I'm good." And then he turned away. That was it. He just wanted to greet me. That was a Southern thing. And, and then I had chances to travel throughout the South and up into New England, and the cultures are so different everywhere, and it's just fascinating. I love experiencing all those different cultures and different people. So
and experiences teach.
Yeah.
yes,
right. So it's a very expansive way of growing up, because the world is full of humans.
Right. And then I meet people who, oh, I've never been outside Colorado, and I think, okay, you don't know what you're missing.
Right.
But it's where so many narrow and negative views come from, because people don't understand the different cultures and the different ways that
and that's it.
have.
It's a lack of understanding. That's
Yep.
all it is.
Yep.
That's all it is. Like, if we could break it down to that, like, just if somebody could have more experiences, then all that changes. Well, what brought you to Colorado Springs then, of all of the places in the whole wide world you can choose?
Well, my dad got stationed here. He did a remote tour in Iceland for a year and requested Colorado when he got back. And so they did. They stationed him at the Air Force Academy here. He was in the communications squadron, and he finally retired here, and they built this house in 1978. So I was still in school. So, I wasn't that old, but I grew up here, and I've lived in Colorado Springs most of my life since then, except for the 10 years in Nashville and 3 years that my sister and I spent in Denver fairly recently. We just moved back to Colorado Springs in April of last year because my dad passed and we inherited the house. And so, okay, we'll come in, get all the stuff out, remodel it, sell it. My sister says, I don't want to sell. We were just about to list it. I mean, literally within the week of listing it. And she says, no, I don't want to sell. I want to live here. Okay. So
perfect.
We haven't quite got it fixed up. You can tell by the background, but
you have a heater.
I do have a heater, because what I'm sitting in used to be the garage.
Oh, so it's kind of going to be your office.
It is. Oh,
I love it.
And so, my parents, I don't know why they decided to convert the garage. I mean, most of the kids were gone out of the house. It's a 6-bedroom house. What do they need more space for? But for whatever reason, they decided they needed this nice, comfortable, relaxing space. So they put in a big TV and comfortable recliners. But they built a detached garage, and I did help with that. I was still here. It was right before I moved to Nashville. And so I can remember sitting on top of a very rickety ladder, holding trusses while my uncle and my dad were nudging them, trying to get in place. And I'm just shaking like this.
I love, the fact that you're living and steeped in history is incredible. Mm-hmm. So what brought you to the Blue Talks? What brought you to us today?
Oh, I love to speak, and it's
I can tell you're very extroverted. You have a very vibrant energy.
Every now and then I have to pull back and go into just my own little space and recharge, but most of the time. And it's really funny because when I was in my 20s, I started working on a help desk, and part of my job was to do training. It was a national accounting firm, and we'd have people come in from the offices to get trained on our systems, new people. And I had to stand up in front of these people and train. And it was something that I was completely uncomfortable with. I couldn't get in front of people and speak. But once I started doing it, I got a little bit better. I started doing karaoke. I started speaking in front of people, and I've spoken in front of a few hundred and sung in front of a few thousand, and it's awesome. So I keep wanting to do more speaking, get on virtual stages or actual stages and do more speaking. And I've also been wanting to do writing for a long time. So I'm finally getting into that and getting started.
All here.
Yeah. So, when I saw the opportunity to be part of one of the Blue books, I had to do it. It's like, oh, this is amazing. I can do this. And I started writing my chapter, and it wasn't going well. And I thought, am I writing the wrong thing? So I set it aside, came back to it the next day, and I said, okay, let's start here. I had that whole thing written in an hour.
Okay, wait. So where'd you start? This is a good start of a story. I feel a story coming on.
Well, there are stories in the chapter, but it's about turning around the negatives into positives. You can reframe just about anything that happens to you into a positive. And a story that I love to tell, it's a crazy story. I used to travel when I was in Nashville. I would travel to Central Missouri because some friends of mine were in a band there, a country band, and they played at a club there. And they would play Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. So early one Thursday morning, my sister and I took off to drive to Missouri, and we hadn't even made it out of Tennessee. And I had gotten into the left lane on the interstate to pass a car, and saw a car coming on from the on-ramp and stayed over in the left lane. And so I'm just driving along. My sister's trying to sleep. And all of a sudden, I see this car come straight across the interstate in front of me. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to hit the driver's door. So I jerked the wheel to the left, and I hit just forward of the driver's door, and it spun her car. So she slid sideways, and we're heading straight for the trees in the median.
Oh my goodness.
Well, at an angle. And I kept trying to steer, but the ground was muddy. So I'm trying to steer. And finally, we hit this bush that was growing out of the side of the hill. And it slowed us down so that I could get steered back over onto the grass. And my sister jammed her shoulder. My back was wrenched a little bit. And the 17-year-old driving the other car, she had hit her head on the window, of course, when I hit her. But I didn't hit straight into her. So she was fine. And, she got out of the car. We were all able to walk and talk, and we were fine, totaled both cars. And the police didn't get there for about an hour. And by then, she'd been taken away by ambulance. Her mother had come and been with her, and her father showed up, and he asked me what happened. So I was describing what had happened. And she told me that she had looked to check traffic and saw traffic and panicked a little bit, and her right hand wheels went off onto the soft shoulder. And when she wrenched it back, she overcorrected, and that's when she went shooting across the interstate. So car was totaled. We went and got a rental car. We took everything out of my car and continued on. Picked up a sling at Walmart for my sister's shoulder, and
we're going.
Nothing's
going to stop us.
No, it gets better. So that night we got to the club, and the drummer had had an emergency appendectomy less than 2 weeks before that. So he couldn't quite button his jeans, and he was using a very small drum set, so he didn't have to move very much, but still drumming. He's crazy. Friday night, some friends of ours came up to the club. They lived about 45 minutes away, and the muffler was falling off of their car. So they had to stop, and somebody stopped to help them. They just took it off and threw it in the trunk. And on Saturday night, in the middle of one of the breaks, the guys came and got me and said, Diane, can we talk to you for a minute? Sure. So we went out in the lobby, and they're all standing there with their hands in their pockets, this whole hangdog thing. And they said, the engine is going out on our van for the third time in 6 months. It's like, oh my gosh. So they said, can you help us get some of our equipment back to Colorado or back to Nashville, because we have to be in the studio this week? Okay, sure. So fortunately, the rental car that I got was bigger than my car. So we met them at the club at 2:30 in the morning, checked out of our hotel, took some stuff out of our car and put it into their trailer because they were going to leave that in St. Louis. And so we created more room in the car for their stuff. So we drove to St. Louis to the airport. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning. They wanted to rent a van, but there were none available. So they rented a Ford Taurus. Now, these are 5 men in the band plus their sound man, 6 grown men in a Ford Taurus. They said, oh, yeah, well, they told us at the counter at seat six. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. So the fiddle player's uncle had an engine shop over in East St. Louis. So we dropped the van and the trailer off there, and they loaded some stuff into the car. And they said, we can trade off driving with you if you want. It's like, no, I'm not going to squash into that car with you. My back seat was full. It was funny. And, we hadn't got much sleep, so we were kind of punchy. And we were watching the guys get into the car, and the keyboard player just looked miserable. And we busted out laughing. And he gave us the dirtiest look I've ever gotten in my whole life. So we drove about 5 miles down the road where there was a McDonald's to get breakfast. And those guys were already snapping at each other because they're packed into this little car. So they sat, 2 of them sat at a table. My sister and I sat at the next table, and there's one over there and one over there and one in a completely different dining room at McDonald's. They wanted to separate after 5 minutes. And so we had to drive 300 miles home. And it was the craziest thing. Then we had to get the car back to the airport, the rental car. And my sister and I lived right over there. So we volunteered to drive it over. When she got into the car, she discovered that the armrest was down. You know, one of those front seat armrests that you just fold down out of the back. Mm-hmm. It was down. They didn't know it folded up into the back, and one guy had been sitting on it for 300 miles. I can't even imagine. So anyway, so what I did with this story is I looked at this whole weekend and I thought, okay, there's so many positives here. If it hadn't been me in that accident, would a different person have thought, you know, jerk the wheel to the left so that you don't hit the driver? If I hadn't been there to hit the car, she would have gone straight into the trees and, you know, 60, 70 miles an hour straight into a bunch of trees, probably wouldn't have survived. I had been wanting to get a different car. Now I had the opportunity. And, you know,
so you took this whole adventure and you flipped the script on all of these things. This is a perfect story. I love it. I was wondering where you were going, Diane. I have to tell you.
I hear you. It's just a funny story. I love the whole
thing.
Yeah,
it is a funny story.
So the guys were lucky that we happened to be there that weekend, and we had a 4-door car instead of my little 2-door that I had wrecked. And so we had more space to carry their stuff back. And, you know, there's just so many things. And, you know, with the injuries Linda and I had, we had a larger car. We actually went to Texas the next weekend to see a different band. So we had the larger car to travel in. So it was comfortable because it was a couple of weeks before I got my car. And so it was just all so amazing. And the first thing that this young lady had said to me after she asked if we were okay, and she walked towards us, and she says, you know, my parents are going to kill me. And I said, no, they're not. I said, cars can be replaced. They're going to be so happy that you are fine that the car doesn't matter. And when I talked to her dad, he said, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I said, yeah, because the same thing happened to me when I was very young. I totaled my dad's station wagon, and they were just happy I was okay. Yeah. You know, forget the car. It doesn't matter. It's old.
How else have you been able to flip the script or change perspective in your life? Because it's such a big concept, and I think it's so needed that we get caught in one idea and one concept. And how is it applicable to other areas of your life?
Well, I have been using a motorized wheelchair for several years. I have a genetic condition that makes my tendons too elastic, so my joints don't get held in place correctly. And I had arthritis by the time I was 18 because of that. And so it just gets worse and worse over the years. So my back finally got so bad, and my knees, that I use this motorized wheelchair. But I remember before I had the chair, it was very difficult for me to get around. Mm-hmm. I could walk a little bit. I was okay, but I didn't go out. I didn't go shopping unless it was a place that had a motorized cart like King Soopers or Walmart or something. And so I was very limited in my activities. So when I finally got the wheelchair, it's like, I'm free. Mm-hmm. I can go just about anywhere I want to go. I can do more. I can get around more. This is fantastic. And other people would look at, oh gosh, you're in a wheelchair. Oh, how horrible, how limiting for your life. And it's like,
But you, it was freedom.
Yeah, yes. Freedom.
You know what? You just flipped the script again, because that is not what I expected when you asked that question, Lisa. Like, wait, so you've done all of these things that you're telling us from a perspective that you and I couldn't relate to personally. I don't know about you, Lisa, but like, that's amazing. So that's a whole other plot twist in your ability to be able to flip your script.
Whole other chapter in your book.
Now in the chapter in your book, do you share that you've had some challenges in your life that were limiting and you were able to now find this new freedom?
I talk about the wheelchair. I talk about that accident, not as much detail of the story as I gave you, but yeah, those are the things that I talk about, that I've completely changed perspective on these. And I can find something positive in almost any situation you can give me. And, the worst things I can think of are the death of a loved one, or something of that nature that, absolutely, you've lost somebody. But even with the loss of my dad had been diagnosed with cancer. He'd had the radiation therapy, and it had weakened him. He said he had lost more than half of his strength. He was having trouble getting around. And he was somebody who said, absolutely, I'm not going, he and mom cruised for years. We lost mom in 2015. And he wouldn't go on a cruise if he had to be in a wheelchair or was going to be a burden to somebody. And so he just did not want anybody to take care of him. He'd been independent all his life. So we got a call from one of his brothers in January of last year saying, we can't get a hold of him. We've been trying since yesterday. We can't get a hold of him. And we were living up in Denver area at the time, about 50 miles away. So we said, okay, well, we'll drive down there. And we called a neighbor and said, hey, can you go over and see if the truck is there and see if you can raise him, knock on the door? And he couldn't. So the truck was there, but no dad. So we got down there and I walked back to the bedroom and there he was. And it looked like he had gotten up first thing in the morning and something had happened and he had fallen back on the bed and he was gone. So it was that quick. It was, he didn't have prolonged suffering. He didn't have to be in a hospital or a nursing home or anything like that. And I call that a blessing, because he would have hated every minute of it. And so, if he had to go, he went quick, and that was perfect for him. So, and, he wasn't getting out and doing anything. He wasn't going anywhere. He'd go shopping and that was it. And just couldn't really find much of a life. Had a few friends in the neighborhood that he talked to sometimes, but that was it. So I think he was ready to be reunited with my mom. And so he just said, okay, I think the girls are going to be okay. So I lost both of my brothers years ago, but my sister's still here. And so he decided that we were going to be okay. So he was okay to go. So he did.
Beautiful. Did you come into this world with that perspective, or did something happen in your life that you really started to, aside from what you've already shared with us, but early, when did you start to learn that flipping your script probably was more complementary to the life that you were living, as opposed to focusing on what wasn't really working?
This would have been about 20 or so years ago. I was always negative and angry, and it's like, this is just wearing me out. But it finally occurred to me one day, it was like a light bulb went off. It's like, Dad called me stupid the whole time I was growing up, and I believed it. It was a word he used when he got angry, and he used it with all of the kids. He used it with my mother, and he had a temper, and he raised us the way his parents had raised him. And just for whatever reason, I believed that I was stupid, and I'm not. In fact, my mother said that my dad was the smartest person that she had ever met until she met me. So
game changer right there.
Yeah. So when I realized that this is what had been affecting me all my life, it's like, I've got to redo this and ignore what I was told and go with what I know. I am very capable. I'm able to do whatever I want. I'm not stupid. I'm intelligent. And sometimes, it still hits me and gets me down, but I pull right out of it because I know that this is not true. And so that was what got me thinking, okay, there are positives about me. And so I started seeing more positives about me, more of what I could do. And it just kind of spread throughout my life.
And you know what? If I hadn't asked that question, I would have thought you came out of the womb with this attitude. I mean, you emanated from the inside out. I mean, your light is incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Is there a technique or something that you use when you find yourself kind of spiraling back, maybe, or flipping back over to that place? Because we all do.
Yes.
We all do. None of us got to get out of being human free card. We all have our moments.
And sometimes it can be pretty paralyzing. You know, just you get into that mindset all of a sudden. It's like, I can't do anything, so I'm not going to do anything. Mm-hmm. And so I usually have to talk something out with someone, just say, you know, this is driving me crazy. Sometimes I do that with my sister. Sometimes I do that with my doctor, just whatever. And so I talk through a little bit of this, and it's like, okay, I'm seeing where this is coming from now. I spent last year working with contractors on remodeling the house and doing all these things. And my parents, the house looked like they were the hoarders from hell. They built the house in 1978, and they've been filling it ever since.
Yeah, a lot of time.
And I had to replace the 1978 red shag carpet. So
I bet it was sexy when they first got it, though. Red shag, that sounds really cool.
There's a china cabinet that had not moved out of the spot since we moved into the house, and the carpet underneath it was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
The rest of it was so. But you know, I had been working with contractors and trying to settle the estate and do all of these things, and it just got to be too much. And we had to do some remodeling for my wheelchair, a couple of ramps, widen some doors, and we never did get all of that finished because we only had so much money. We had to take care of the things that we got done, but you know, we did enough that I can get around. And so all of that had weighed on me without me realizing just how much it had affected me. So we went on a cruise. We went down to Florida. We were in Florida in December.
Did you leave from Tampa or Miami?
We left from Miami, but we started our vacation in Orlando.
Oh, okay.
We spent a day at Hollywood Studios, built lightsabers. Yeah, that was incredible.
Love it.
And then we went to Cape Kennedy, the Kennedy Space Center. Cape Canaveral, but the Kennedy Space Center. Yeah, I get those mixed up. And we did that rocket launch simulator. I don't know if you've ever done that.
I haven't. How was it?
Oh my gosh. This is one of the most incredible experiences in my life. The astronauts say that it's second only to actually going up in a rocket.
Wow.
Did it make you nauseous?
No, it actually only lasts for a few minutes. And, you know, there's vibrations and the gravity. And I think they actually turn the ship over. And
that's why I'm asking. I'm feeling like, I think I might be like,
nope.
But, you know, it was amazing. So we did that. And then we took a bus down to Miami the next day and did our 5-day cruise, just Nassau and Cozumel, and had a wonderful time because there were only 600 people on this huge ship that hold about 4 or 5 times that many. So, you know, it was like a private yacht. It was wonderful. And so I came back from that fantastic vacation right after Christmas and just went, you know, because I'd been looking forward to that for so long and it was so incredible. And now I'm back here. It's like, okay, reality. And we still need to work on the house and get things sorted. And
was that the beginning of this year?
Yeah.
The beginning of this year. But look at you now. Like, I mean, it's only February?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you pulled yourself up.
I talked to my doctor and she's like, you keep telling me how stressed out you are about this house situation. Why haven't you done anything about that yet? I'm like, okay. So I talked to a mental health professional and started thinking, okay, this is a lot of stress. It's okay to feel like this, but now you've got to get moving again and you've got to get some things done. So, okay, write my chapter.
Good for you. And here you are, like writing a chapter and showing up on the Blue Talk stage for like a Flip Your Script Friday interview. I mean, that's big stuff right there.
And this is the first time I've been interviewed like this.
I was going to ask you if it was your maiden voyage. I was going to ask if this was your maiden voyage.
It is. And I've been thinking all week, it's like, why am I doing this? I don't know what I'm doing. And then I thought, you know what? Just show up and do it. It'll be fine.
Girl, half the time we all don't know what we're doing.
Yes.
We just show up, right, Lisa?
Absolutely. Show up. Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's funny because I didn't like going into situations that I wasn't familiar with when I was younger, because I didn't want to look stupid doing something wrong, so I was stupid. I didn't want to look stupid. And so now it's like, okay, if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. That just proves you're human. It doesn't make you look stupid.
When you show up to more things, there's more opportunities for things to sort of go awry a little bit.
Right.
If you stay in one place, then there's less opportunity for anything to shift in any direction.
Exactly.
So,
sticking in your comfort zone, and you never grow that way.
Yep.
Right.
And someone is always new at something. At some point, someone had to start something that they were unfamiliar with. So everyone can relate because everyone has been there at some point in their life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I still go into places, unfamiliar situations, and it's like, okay, I'm not sure what I'm doing. And sometimes I do feel like I've done something kind of dumb or weird or whatever.
Listen, if
and
you could go sing karaoke, that's big. Like, I don't sing karaoke. I would love to have that, like, I don't really care attitude, and just be like, I'm going to just sing, even though I sang
with
really
a professional rock band about 4 years ago.
Wow.
On stage, full house.
What song did you sing?
I sang a song called, it just went right out of my head.
All right. Well, moving on. When they come,
one of the guys had written it. It was one of their originals. How was the show last night? It talked about him growing up in a small town northwest of Denver, and growing up knowing people, and just getting together, jamming on music and that kind of thing. And I got up there and just sang. I wasn't even nervous, which was the first time in my whole life I've gotten on a stage and not been nervous. I usually can control it and it's no big deal, but I didn't even feel it that night. And after the show was over, I had somebody come up to me and say, okay, how many times did you have to rehearse that with the band for it to be that good? And I said, once during sound check. He's like, no way. I said, yeah, once during sound check. That was the only time we ever sang together. And he's like, that is too amazing. That's incredible. Yeah. So, yeah. And
so
the owners.
what do you hope readers take from your chapter in the Blue Talks book?
Lisa,
what do you
you're
hope
so
that
good.
that they take away from your chapter?
Well, I hope what they take away is that you can look at situations. I mean, I totaled my car and I've got so many positives out of that. And just that they can look at situations differently and see that. And I really want to expand this into a whole book. I'm working on that now. And really talk about how you can look at a situation and look at it from a different perspective. And that's all it is the perspective. Exactly.
I'm going to plug the flip your script. Flip your script. Well, it's fun. It lightens up. It lightens the mood, but it makes the
energy.
But it makes the point, instead of like, change your attitude. No, just flip your script.
Yeah. Yeah. And you just do it one situation at a time. I had to leave a part-time job when I moved down to Colorado Springs, and it was like, well, that's okay, because I need the time to focus on doing the house. So
one door closes, one door opens.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, now I've got to get back to work. So I've either got to get this author thing going and really, make that a success, or I've got to go get a traditional job, and maybe I'll do both for a while and then kick the traditional job to the curb. So, it's just, okay, got to do what I got to do right now and keep moving forward and take care of current needs and keep dreaming of what I can do in the future.
Yes.
That's so beautiful. I do want to share a personal moment that I had this morning, actually daily moments. So, my fiance and I have been traveling in an RV. Basically, we've
Mhm.
been RVers for the past 2.5 years. We don't really have a home, right? So we don't have a home base. A lot of
Right.
RVers will have a home so you can put all your stuff in your home. So we've had some stuff in storage and that sort of thing. But now, like, we bought this old motel and we have a lot of stuff. I just want
Right.
to talk about stuff and things that need to be done, like what you were saying.
Yeah.
And I was allowing the fact that things weren't exactly the way that I needed them to visually be to be my reason that I wasn't happy in the moment.
Mhm.
Like I was using that, like, I just need to get this done and I need to get this done and I have to have these aha moments and these like reality checks. And I was like, what am I doing? I'm using this as the excuse not to be happy. I could be happy. Why is this stuff? Why am I using this stuff? First of all, first world problem, right, Lisa?
Yep.
Total first
Yep.
world problem
First
that
world
I
problem.
have too much stuff.
Mhm.
But I was using the stuff as a reason for me getting out of alignment.
Mhm.
And so I had this aha moment this morning going, you know what? I'm just going to like choose to be happy with all the stuff. And still going to work on, what needs to be done. But while I'm working on it, I'm going to choose how I want to feel.
Exactly.
I have to keep checking in, do a lot of tapping, because it still comes back. But so I just want to give you license and permission to still be okay while you have renovations to do, while that there are things that you look around and go, well, if I just got this done, I'd feel better. Probably not the case.
No.
Because it'd be something else then because we're really good at arguing for our limitations. I think that's like something that we're all just taught to be really good at.
Right.
So I wanted to share that because I can relate to the things that there's always stuff that needs to get done around here. And so it's a constant process. So I could either constantly be out of alignment because it's never really going to be exactly complete.
Yep.
Or I can make that choice to kind of go with the flow of it and recognize, like you said, wow, I have a lot of stuff. What a gift. I have this place that's full of things.
Yeah, but we took everything out. We filled 3
want some
10
stuff?
by 20. Huh? Oh,
You want
no.
stuff?
No,
I got
no.
stuff.
3 storage units, 10 by 20,
Wow.
full of stuff.
That's a lot of stuff.
That's all of my parents' stuff. A lot of it was furniture. We brought a lot of furniture back in, the furniture we didn't want. We had a hoarding company come in and clean everything out. So they just tossed
Okay,
things
so
into
now
the
you're making me
dumpster.
feel better. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Because I don't
So-
have that much stuff.
No. So we're actually bringing the rest of the stuff from the storage units tomorrow. So we've got it here in the house. We've just decided, okay, we're going to use this space and this space and this space. And we're going to tackle it a few boxes at a time. It's like, oh, you know what? I think we should sort through some stuff. There's a lot of knickknacks and souvenirs from my parents' travels. And, some of it is my travels and living in the Philippines. And so there's some things we'll keep because they have meaning for us.
Sure.
There's other things that had meaning for my parents that don't have any meaning for us. And that's the stuff we're going to pitch. Or if
Yeah.
we've
Great.
just got too much of it, we're going to pitch it.
Yeah.
So
I want to ask you a question. How has your life changed since you started to flip your script?
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I've done things. Well, the singing, that never would have been possible if I hadn't started trying to look at the positives instead of the negatives 20 years ago.
Mhm.
And it's taken some years to get to that point. And then, like you said, it's a constant effort. You have to keep pulling yourself back and bringing yourself back to that positive, because we all get overwhelmed and we all get stuck with something that happened, and just keep bringing yourself back. So no, I never would have been able to look at being in the wheelchair as a positive thing. I never would have been able to get up and sing on stage, write a book. And, the more I think about it, the more I think, yeah, I can do this. People are going to buy it. People are going to be interested. It's going to help other people and hopefully make a difference for the people who read the book. And it's like, yeah, this is worthwhile. And sometimes it's really difficult for me to see, okay, things that I know are not common knowledge. Things that I do are not things that other people do. People haven't traveled like I've traveled. People haven't taken the same courses in school and had the same life experiences. And so, yeah, there is a lot of information that I can provide to other people that would be valuable and would be new. And it's just really hard for me to step back and see that I have all of this to offer, when for me it's just, this is my life, but
Yeah.
I really have that much to offer to other people, and I'm really convincing myself of that. And that's why I'm finally taking action, and I'm here in the Blue Talks, and I'm going to be in that book that comes out anytime now, and write my whole book and keep going.
I love it. Well, you've changed my life.
Yes.
Thank you.
And helped me flip my script even during, the time that we've spent here together.
Yeah, stuff too, right?
Yeah, yes, there's so much that you have to offer.
Somebody else always has worse circumstances. Somebody else always has tougher things to manage than we do. And maybe ours are tougher than somebody else's, but somebody's always got it worse.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I can count my blessings. I'm not homeless. I can count my blessings that I've got plenty of furniture and I don't need to worry about buying more.
You could furnish many houses.
Abundance of furniture.
I've got pictures and things to hang on the walls. As soon as we get it out of storage and sort through all of it, I can decorate all of these walls in this big house. There's plenty. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I love to ask our guests as we come to a close, if they could share a mind seed. A mind seed is a seed of thought that we can replace with, when we pull a thought weed, which is that negative thinking that you were able to flip,
right?
20 years ago. So once we pull these thought weeds, if we're so focused and we're so in the weeds, it's really hard sometimes to find these new perspectives and new ways of focus and thought. So I would love to ask my guests if you could share a mind seed, a thought of perspective that somebody could actually replant in place of that mind seed. What would that be?
I can find something positive every day.
Yes.
I love
Absolutely.
it.
Okay, we replaced the water heater and all kinds of things because they were broken down. I rebuilt the kitchen. You can find a positive. Your basement floods. Okay, well, you know what? We're going to replace that sewer line and we can live worry-free for a lot of years.
Right.
There's always something positive. You can find something positive every day.
I love it. I mean, that is just like such a beautiful mind seed. I'm going to use that. I'm going to be planting that seed in my moments of, also,
what a thought to have when you wake up in the morning, right? And you just know, you know what? I'm going to find something positive about every aspect of my day today, or I can do that.
Yeah.
I get to do that.
Yeah.
I know Lisa and I are going to be using that every morning, aren't we? And before we go to bed.
Yeah.
What was positive in my day? Oh my gosh, I can't count on two hands anymore. There's too many. Yeah.
So Diane, I know that this was your maiden voyage and you are just, you're coming out and you're blossoming and blooming. Get it?
That's
blooming,
cute. I love it.
Right? I just came up with that. Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
So you're blooming. Is there a way that people can get in touch with you if they're moved by your story and they just want to maybe have a conversation? You seem to be so knowledgeable in flipping your script. Just maybe, and I know that you said that one of the ways that you're able to get out of maybe falling into a space that you don't want to be in is to have a conversation with someone. Mm-hmm. Do you want to share some information or contact? Maybe somebody can call you and be like, you know what, I feel moved by what you said and I would love to have a conversation.
Well, I'm still working on my website, but I do have an email and it's Diane, Diane at cumulusrose.com. So that's CUMULUSROSE.
Is that going to be your website?
Yes.
Cumulus Rose.
I wanted a website with the name Rose in it, and I couldn't think of what to do to put it with it. I was driving one day and here's these beautiful cumulus clouds. And I thought, they can grow to be an enormous height. They're always growing and expanding. And that's what we can do too. That's what I can do. That's what I can help others do.
And so what about why rose? What's the significance with rose?
I don't know. I've just always loved roses and I wanted that to be part of the name. A rose symbolizes beauty to a lot of people, and it's you know, it can be so many different colors, so many different things, but you know, a rose is still beauty.
Yeah.
So I've got this
Absolutely.
expansive beauty thing going on.
I love it. So listen, you can put your email address in the comments below
Okay.
where we post this interview. So Blue Talks Flip Your Script Experience is a Facebook group. That's our main group for the stage. And then I know Corey's putting it in on LinkedIn and YouTube. And so if you reach out to Corey, I'm sure he's going to be more than happy to share where he's posting this interview today. So if you could just go in the comments, put your email address and how you would want somebody to contact you, then anybody who's watching today and or comes back to watch the replay can find you.
How do I put a comment in there?
Not here. You don't want to put it in
Okay.
here because only we can see this in StreamYard. So that'll be private. So what you'll do is if you're on Facebook or social media in any way, what I can do is I can have Corey, he has your contact information, send you the link first to the Blue Talks Flip Your Script Experience group on Facebook.
Yeah.
And he'll probably be able to send you links in the other places. And maybe he's listening right now and he can share it.
Hi, Corey.
So actually, if you do put your email address in the comments right here on the stage, Corey will grab it on his end, and then he can copy and paste that where it needs to go. So we'll work as a team here to get you out there, Diane.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
It was such a pleasure meeting you.
Oh, this has been so awesome. I've just loved every minute of it.
Let me just tell you, you nailed it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. We love your energy.
You stuck the landing. Good job. Thank you so much, Diane. So you could just press leave the studio and we'll see you next time.
Ooh, I'm going to refill my water really quickly.
Okay, go for it. Hello, gorgeous. You're on mute. Everybody's leaving me, but that's all right. They'll be back. Everybody will be back. What an amazing, amazing day we've had. Are you back? Well, good. I'm glad you're back too, Lisa, because I'm going to run and let my little buddy cat in. He's meowing outside and scratching at the door. So this is Lindsay. She's still on mute, though.
Lindsay, can you unmute yourself?
There. Okay. Can you hear me now?
We are good. We are golden.
Okay.
Welcome, welcome.
Hi.
I've never met you. My name is Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. It's nice to meet you.
So let me ask you, Lindsay, do you have something on? Like, are you watching this live somewhere? Because I can hear an echo.
A little echo.
Yeah. Oh, I hear it. Let me.
Yeah. So if you turn that off, then yeah. This is Buddy who wanted to come in. He's our little lemur cat here.
Can you hear me
He's
now?
like everywhere. Yeah, still a bit of an
Just
echo
like
that
echo.
for some reason.
You know, I was looking around. Give me a moment. I'm going to try these blue
That's better.
earbuds. Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to touch it because I've been fooling with it for the last 10 to 15 minutes. I'm just door. Come on, baby. Come on. Get in here. Come on.
We all have our fur babies. I heard yours before too.
Yes, mine's a talker. We had a conversation this morning. Be good today. Be good today.
What fur baby do you have?
I heard y'all say that y'all had an animal y'all were letting out real quick. Is that right?
Buddy. I just let Buddy in. He's
there?
our cat.
Okay,
Yeah,
now I can't hear y'all.
That might be on
weird.
your end. You know why? I think your earbuds probably are connected still.
You know what? There you go.
Can you hear us now?
Wait just a minute. You girls. This has been nuts. Yeah, so I had all this equipment. I'm like, what's going on? And I could hear y'all coming from somewhere, and I was trying to get these to work, and then they wouldn't work. So I was charging them while I was like sitting backstage, like, come on, let's work. Then I took them off, and then I was reading, hey, you might have an echo. And then y'all were like, hey, you have an echo. So I just kind of turned off that whole thing.
Well, it's working now. So whatever you did behind the scenes, take a deep breath. Let's breathe.
Okay.
Now we can come to center and create the
Yes.
space.
How are y'all doing?
Great. Where are you from with y'all?
Texas. Can you tell?
Yeah, girl. You
Hey,
got the y'all on.
Yeehaw.
Where are you in Galveston?
So I'm from Texas, but I actually live in Destin, Florida. So I'm in Florida. I'm ready to go to the beach. I even have my bathing suit on.
So do I. Well, I just took my bathing suit off, actually. Well, not while we were doing the show, but.
I moved to the beach. I love it. I moved to the beach and got a Jeep, and that's where I live now. And I'm just piecing life back together, and it's been beautiful. But I'm originally from Texas, so people will hear that accent when I say, "Hey, y'all." It's just like a natural thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't get rid of the y'all.
Yeah, you can't escape that.
No. Right?
So-
It's like a Southern thing, Lisa, right?
Yeah.
Y'all.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all.
Okay, so you're originally from Texas. We hear that, and so
Yes.
so I heard that you are piecing your life back together. That's
Yes.
always a really good, like, all right, let's start
You gotta hear
there.
this story. Yeah.
Okay.
Just tell us as much
Y'all
as
want
you
to know
want.
what? Oh, okay. Well, wow, where to start? So I was a professional model in Las Vegas. I lived in Henderson, Nevada for 20 years. And 6 years ago, I went in for a surgery that I had to have, and I came out gravely ill. And long story short of it is, it nearly cost me my life. It knocked me off the stage of my profession as a professional model and a brand ambassador, a co-hostess, a product demonstrator. All of that was in the health and fitness industry. And so fast forward, all I dreamt about when I was in the hospital bed was just, doctor, write on that little prescription notes, gone to the beach, never coming back. And so I literally manifested me getting here to Destin, Florida, to our family cottage. And my mom encouraged me to sell my townhome, and I had massive medical bills. And she goes, "Don't sell it though because of that." But I did, because I was just so worried. But I also got here because the water just really calmed me, and it really was very healing. And I got involved in a big renovation. I'm in the cottage right now. It's a little villa. We're on the bay side, or I'm on the bay side, on the golf course side. And I just ride my bike underneath the tunnel. I'm literally there, y'all, at the beach. So I've been piecing my life back ever since my grave illness. I moved here. I really got here about 2 years ago. COVID really threw everything off. I was stuck in Texas with my mom, and for 7 months I was like, oh my God, I sold my place. I've been sick. I've been back and forth to Nevada, Florida, Texas. I just need to park it. So I made my escape and got back here in May 2020 and never left. Like, I'm not leaving. So ever since then, I launched Live Inspired Through Faith and Fitness, which was kind of like a blog forum online. And that's how I healed. I just connected with
Say it
people
again.
with
I'm sorry. Living what? You said it so
Live
quickly.
Live Inspired Through Faith and Fitness.
Okay.
And I just launched this forum. I've got about 1,500 people now. It's barely 2 years old. And I connected with fitness and health challenges. And I just, through me connecting with people with my background with health and fitness, instead of speaking and modeling, I just started helping people, because by helping other people, it helps me to heal. Mm-hmm. And so that's what kind of brought me to this journey and to Live Inspired Through Faith and Fitness. And then, of course, I was trying to figure out, what am I going to do with this crazy story? And so I hadn't competed in fitness shows in 25 years. So I went on to do a world's beauty, fitness, fashion show in the Bahamas, because I just wanted to swim with the pigs, the pink pigs, right?
Yes, I've heard about those pigs.
Yeah, it was amazing. Pink pigs. And it was kind of like, I didn't want to get swim with them, just like ankle deep, because I'm an MRSA survivor. And I'm like, ooh, if I have a pinhole cut and I'm in with these animals and they're sick, no, I don't need to be getting sick and all of that. Kind of a little paranoid about it still. But I went on to place in top 10 and top 15 in bikini and fitness. But bringing that up, they said on the stage, the founder of Live Inspired Through Faith and Fitness. And I was like, whoa, I got to do something big with this now. And it's just been interesting since I've been here, and I've been praying and blessing on it, because then I connected with Jeffrey Saunders, who was in volume 5 of the bLU Business Life Universe book. And he's like, Lindsey, you got to connect with Corey. I got connected with Corey. And I'm in the next volume book, and the first chapter is called Live Inspired Through Faith and Fitness. So that's why I'm talking about that, because it's based on, you know, my healing and my recovery. And I was going to make it really my business, but I just went to Lindsey Hagood, LLC. It makes things a lot easier when you're doing multiple things, and it's less complicated, right?
So
Well, and then you can put anything underneath Lindsey Hagood LLC. I mean, that's your
I can umbrella.
You are the brand. Well, you are the brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're your own brand, and how you choose to diversify from there is up to you.
Yeah. And I really wanted to focus on the health and fitness more so than my tragic story, because, you know, that will be coming out soon enough, but that's in the next book.
So you got
I just want to concentrate on the recovery and helping people. And let's focus on, this is what defines me, is health and wellness and fitness and faith, and not this god awful, what the heck just happened? What? Can that happen to me? Yeah, let's just talk about that some other time.
When you moved to Florida, you were able to finally put in roots, right? You're able to plant something, and that's how you were able to heal and recover and grow and birth this new idea and business, because you were finally able to like put your roots into the ground and, like you said, come back to the water that is so healing for you. That's amazing.
Yes, it's so true. And it's really been incredible. I mean, it's been a long journey. I've been trying to get here since 2018, was sick again in 2019, flying back to Nevada. Then I just decided, oh my God, all these food allergies, I'm going to do a bodybuilding show again. That's when I launched Live Inspired Through Faith and Fitness, and really got back here in 2019. But I was only here for 5 short months before the whole world fell apart. I felt like I was a couple years ahead of everyone.
It's the global plot twist.
Yeah, and I felt like I was just a couple years ahead of everyone, going, oh, welcome to the party. Because, you know, we all felt like the whole world just kind of felt apart. Like some of us were scared, some of us weren't. And because I had been infectious disease care for so long, you know, I won't take away from the virus because it's very real. I just was like, whoa, what? You know, I've had bacteria staphylococcus and MRSA site of surgery. What is this? But I knew it was SARS. My dad was an original patient of SARS way back when the first Wuhan flu hit the United States, which was in 2006. And he was in China and he got it. So when they said like a respiratory, I looked it up right away and I was like, oh, this is SARS too. This isn't so bad. But that's a whole different topic. We'll talk today about living inspired.
You almost opened a whole can of, woo-ha right there. Close it back
so
up.
Many different opinions.
Put it over there.
It's kind of negative, like, okay, nobody wants to talk about that. Let's talk about how we're living inspired today, right?
So
yes.
with your Live Inspired Through Faith and Fitness, correct? Faith and Fitness? What do you help people do?
Well, I help them with fitness transformations. I help them get in the best shape of their lives by personal training them online through a fitness challenge program, and I provide nutrition. And there's a lot of people that need this help. There's tons and tons and tons of online personal trainers and instructors and nutritionists. And so there's more than enough business for all of us out there. But I really connect through the people that are my friends that have connected through me. And most of them, believe it or not, is from illness to wellness. And so they'll call me and we'll talk about their program, and then I'll customize a program for them. And then I just kind of, keep on doing stuff online and jump up and down online with all the promoting. But more than anything is I really work one-on-one with them to help them achieve their personal goals, and that they can achieve their personal success from illness to wellness, or from fat to fit, or from overweight to fit, or overweight to healthy. And that's what I really focus in on. And it's really easy. I don't make it difficult. I don't give a hard course or a hard class. I keep it simplified, just very, very easy, basic with especially food. You know, food is such a broad topic.
I was just going to ask you. So I call it an edible lifestyle. I love it.
Yes.
It's an edible lifestyle. It's a lifestyle on and how we eat, right? And so
that's right.
What seems to work for you? Like, let's talk about you for a second. Well, first of all, were you married? Do you have kids? Like, we didn't even get there. We jumped.
No.
You're so like animated.
Oh, am I?
Because I love it.
I'm grateful to be alive. You just have no idea. He's coming though. Don't say anything, but I am wearing an initial around my neck, and that's my soulmate. Wherever he is, I think I know who it is. He's coming. I'm bringing it to me. They say manifest, law of attraction. It's happening. It's my year. Let's go. Nothing's stopping me. But no, I'm single. I've never been married, and I don't have any children. And I just celebrated my 50th birthday last year. Can y'all believe it?
You look amazing.
Yeah.
It's fitness. It's the beach. It's God. Thank you so much. So
yeah, he's on his way. So that's done.
He's on his way. He's being cooked. He's being cooked up. God's bringing him my way. It will happen when it's meant to be. You know, whenever we're searching for that, it never comes. And of course, 6 years ago, you know, I went in for surgery. Unbeknownst to me, I was like booked for the whole year. I thought, I'm going to have all these jobs. Everything's going to be so great. And I was so gravely ill, and I had 2 emergency surgeries back to back, quarantined in the hospital. Like, I knew what quarantine was before the quarantine. And I wasn't really dating anybody at that time. And I was just healing from a past breakup, a really long breakup from a long time ago. And so fast forward 6 years, you know, I've had a lot of time to think in my mind, what do I want? Marinate it while I'm healing, right? Because I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta heal. I mean, you couldn't make up the story if you tried. I gotta heal, feel the heal. And so I just focused on healing and you know, being inspired through God and my faith and my fitness lifestyle. It's really what saved me. Just walking every day, getting to the gym, working out, eating healthy, juicing. I mean, I guess we should probably talk about the white elephant in the room.
Like, what was right here?
Yeah. Like, what was the sickness?
Keep looking and seeing, can you see the blueberries in my teeth? You know, when I'm doing this from 11 to 2, and my days are like crazy.
Good.
So I didn't even eat. So I'm like, I'm just putting it in here. So that's why I'm like,
you know how good it is for your body to juice like that. You're detoxifying your body naturally, and food alone is all that we need. And there's so much supplements out there, and there's so many gimmicks, and there's so many this and so much that. And people are always saying, hey, Lindsey, what should I do? I'm like, eat food, juice, eat fruit, eat vegetables, fruit before 12. In the afternoon, once you get through your juicing detox natural phase, vegetables, you know, eat them in the raw, cook them. You know, we cook out a lot of the amino acids in our foods when we cook foods, but, you know, cut them up. Juice. I've got a juicer. I love it. I celery juice every morning. It's
me too.
Fantastic.
This is my second juice. The celery juice is the first thing that I do before anything.
Well, really good. That's amazing.
Well, it's been a journey. Trust me. Cutting out the sugar, the gluten, and the dairy. Mm-hmm. I did that since October of last year. It's been a journey.
Yeah.
Yes,
and I'm allergic to gluten, and I'm wheat resistant. And I know a little while back you asked in the conversation, what did you do? So I found out my food allergies were gluten, long grains, wheat, dairy, green olives of all things, and milk chocolate of all things. So I was like, I might as well compete again and be a bodybuilder.
Yeah. Well, you could do like dark chocolate, right? Cacao.
I do dark chocolate. I stay away from soy. Only because soy has never been a really perfect fit for me. It's a great choice for other people, but personally for me, I kind of swelled up, and so I don't do soy. I did recently try oat milk. I mean, I've been doing this for years, but they're always coming out with new stuff. I'm not real crazy about that. I just stick to almond milk, you know, an unsweetened almond milk, and
finding out what works for your body, right? It's about finding out what works.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and everybody's different. And so as a coach, as a life coach, and a fitness personal trainer and a nutritionist, I'm 4 times certified in nutrition and personal training. It's really my background before I got into modeling. And so it's kind of funny how I teeter-tottered back and forth, between the two. But I just practice just good, simple nutrition with people. There's nothing special about it. You just have to do it. You have to apply. But the biggest thing is so many people are allergic to foods. And so find out what you're allergic to and then go from there, because there's a lot of food allergies. I mean, there's a lot of stuff pumped in our foods right now, pesticides, antibiotics. I mean, the list goes on and on. I just tell people, if you can't pick it from the ground, don't eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So true.
And then what are you picking from the ground? But that's a whole other thing. I have a faith
Well,
question for you.
I was just about to say, make sure you wash it.
Yeah, it depends on where you're picking it from. So faith, I know you keep saying my faith. So was your faith so prominent in your life before you had this global plot twist in your own life?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always, from a small child, just believed in God and loved God, and of course was baptized. And my family wasn't real religious, where we went to church every weekend. In a minute, here's a visitor.
Oh,
Hey,
who's that?
Denver. That's Denver. But my faith has been really, really strong. He just got neutered, and you would never know. He's not supposed to be climbing, but I got tired of the fight. Come here. You want to see him? You want to see him? Okay, come on. Surprise guest, right?
Yeah.
But where was I? I got distracted. I'm sorry.
Faith.
Oh, the faith. Yeah, I always believed in God. I always knew that He was with me. And so I did have my first near-death experience was when I was 18 years old. And, I didn't see Him that time, but I felt Him. And so following that, I always studied. I went to a youth group camp called Young Life, and I got involved with them to where I became a counselor for the campers, which I used to be a camper. And so I really got involved with fellowship athletes when I was in school and stuff and all of this. And so I've always had a very strong faith. And then fast forward to now, with my grave illness that I had, I literally saw Jesus that day. And so that's going to be in my next book, talking about my near-death experience, because it's an NDE whenever you have an out-of-body experience. But I've always had a special relationship with the Lord. And I'm not one of those people, though, that has read the whole Bible. I'm not going to sit here and paint that beautiful, amazing picture of that. I never could get into it. I'm just now getting into it. I'm just studying a lot about it. But I would always pick it up, and I would read scriptures, and it was always in the New Testament more than the Old Testament. I was always drawn more to the New Testament than the Old Testament. But now that I'm, getting a little bit more younger, not older, I'm more interested and fascinated in history and like what really happened and who were the disciples and all of that kind of stuff. So, but it's more on a religious level, and I'm more spiritual. So I kind of just keep more with non-denomination and like the bullet points and stick to like what we're dealing with today's travesties. How can I master my life through this journey today, even though they reflect on the scriptures of the past, but bringing it into the present moment? Because I have taught yoga, and I kind of have that Eastern philosophy in me. So I'm kind of a blend of Eastern meets Western philosophy. So it's interesting. But no, number one, God is always first and foremost. And then, of course, the Buddha. Buddha's not a religion. It's more of a kindness. And
well, really, so is God and Jesus. Jesus,
yeah.
really, to me, Jesus is the emanation of unconditional love.
Yeah.
Period.
Absolutely.
We can use the dude as the emoji, so to speak, for that. But really, what it represents is being unconditionally loving and starting that unconditional love journey from yourself.
Course,
so you can show up. You can show up in that space.
Well, yeah, it was interesting. There's a famous, not a famous, but there's this saying, I believe it's in the Bible, and he said, I am one in you, and you are one in me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was laying in that hospital bed and the bright lights and all of that, you know, never saw the face, but it was a pillar of energy. And he said, I am one in you and you are one in me. And that gave a whole different, completely dimensional thinking, because I never thought about it that way. I thought we were separate, you know. And
I love that
been,
you've had that aha, because I think that that's vital.
Yeah. It's just been amazing. And so
when you, on your healing journey, minus besides your very strong faith to get you through, what else did you do to help keep moving you forward day to day? And because the healing journey, not every day is roses, right? It's very hard.
No, it's not. Yeah. So when I was literally crawling down the hallway on my elbows, you guys, I had poison. It was silicone poisoning, believe it or not. They called it a breast abscess, which was contamination of a foreign device. And it attacked my body, because who knows how long that rupture was inside my body. And so to answer your question, what kept me forward was not only my faith, but my fitness lifestyle. So I crawled down all the way down the hallway, and I literally crawled on a bike, pedaling one pedal at a time, and every day just telling myself I could do just a little bit more and a little bit more. And you almost have to become your own coach and coach yourself through quite an illness when you're that sick, because I knew if I didn't get my body moving, you're not moving fluids, you're not moving anything, it's staying stagnant, and therefore you could stay sick. And I couldn't really comprehend anything at that time. It was so beyond my comprehension, y'all. I say my Texas, y'all. Hey, y'all, I just knew, keep praying, keep pushing it, Lindsey, like an athlete. Get on that bike and go. Just move it to lose it. Move it to use it. And something was just telling me, use it, movement, just move, just keep moving. And that's what really helps me get through my healing journey. You know, it's still ongoing. You know, this past Christmas, I just had not a relapse, but I got the virus, not COVID, but said virus with all of that stuff, coupled in with the MRSA again. So I was back in infectious disease care, and it's just like starting all over again. Okay, keep your faith, stay with your health, stay with your fitness. And, you know, that's what just keeps me going. You know, I'm unstoppable, somebody said. And I'm like, no, I'm living inspired. They told me to go live, so I am. I'm going to live and do the things that inspire me. And what inspires me is, you know, being a Christian and practicing that loving kindness that's unconditional to other people and giving back to people, and also keeping my focus on my health, because if I don't have my health, what do I have? I mean, I don't have much besides those two, faith and health. So it's really important to me.
And the beach, girl, and the beach.
Yeah. And I'm at the beach. I go to this beautiful water that looks like it's the Emerald Coast of Florida. And it's like a green blue. It's the color of this, like a sticky note, like this color blue.
I show you a picture. I just took a picture this morning. So we're in Wiki Watchy, and we're on the Springs. And do you know?
Wow!
Do you know Wiki Watchy?
I know the names. Are you more south?
We're south, but we're central on the Gulf.
Okay, I'm more in the Panhandle, the skinny part.
Yes, I think we just had guests that just came from the Panhandle and went back today. So we're probably about 4 hours from you.
Oh, wow. So I was going to say you're near the Appalachia, that area down there. Like past.
We're on our way to Tampa.
Okay, I got you. So you're more south. You're more east.
West.
Yeah.
We're
west.
Southwest.
Okay. Yeah. Here. Okay, I'm all confused. Yeah, no, I'm in the Panhandle.
We're closer
to here.
We're closer. Yeah, we're closer to each other than Lisa and I. Let's just put it that way.
Well, great. Well, you'll have to plan a trip and get out here. What about you, Lisa?
No, you need to come here. You need to come stay here. We bought an old motel and turned it into a retreat. You have got to come.
Oh my God.
And stay with us.
I need to bring all my students.
No, absolutely.
That sounds like fun.
We host retreats here all the time. We have groups come. We have suites right on the water. It's all about
fitness. Send me that information. That sounds like a blast. You know, a lot of my friends and students and clients are like, Lindsey, because I've taken a pause right now just because I've had to focus on my health again. But they're like, when are you going to do a retreat? So this is great. I told them, hey, if I got together a snow retreat, would y'all come? And they said yes. And then I was like, and somebody said, what about the beach? And I'm like, yeah, we need to do something here in Destin. Well, I'll definitely look into that. That just sounds like so much fun.
I'll send you our information. I'll actually, I tell everybody else to post it in the comments. I'll post my information in the comments, so you'll have that there.
Okay.
Lisa, what were you going to say?
Okay, great.
I was going to say, she needs to do a retreat. Absolutely.
Yeah, wouldn't that be fun?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like so
and we'll
much
bring
fun.
Lisa too. Y'all will be there.
Yeah, Lisa, come on with us.
I would love to get out of the snow of Minnesota. Absolutely. Sign me up.
And if you just want to come,
and
we
I'll
are fur
y'all
baby friendly.
Yes, and healthy, better choices to where you don't feel like you're on a diet. You make it a lifestyle. That's what I really practice and preach. I mean, life is meant to live, and it's just learning how to eat better, good choices. One of my favorite certified nutritionists of all time, Keith Klein, always said, his saying was, eat better, bad choices. But I say eat better, good choices, because it just sounds just a little bit more positive, and I'm not stealing his tagline.
Oh, I love it. So who is your typical client?
Yeah.
Most of them are my age, 40 to 50, 50 to 60. And they're just career people, or the mom or the dad at home that, especially through the virus, people just want to get their health back because a lot of depression set in. So what happens with depression? Binge eating, binge food eating, and this and that. So that's my target goal. I would say not necessarily baby boomers, but right under like the Gen X, my generation. And it's weird because I feel like I just taught yesterday in my 30s, and I taught 55 plus then. And here I am 20 years later, I'm 50. I'm like, yeah, let's just sit and be fit. This is great.
That's funny. So are your clients typically faith-based as well, or is that just a bonus?
I think it's just a bonus. And I've had very few people who've come in who haven't believed in a God or a higher entity or this and that. And when I say faith is so broad. Faith could be your personal belief system beyond God, And so really that hasn't been really a question. Most people like it because it gets them back to, like, let's say, for example, they meditated every day, or they did yoga every day, or they read, like a Bible study book, and they used to do their studies and their readings and stuff. And so I'll hear from a lot of my students, hey, you really got me back to my faith. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And then some of them will share that with me because I'm really careful not to ask too many questions. It can be a really sensitive topic. I don't think so. I talk about God. Yeah.
I'm glad that you answered it more in a broad way, because I think that when people hear faith right away, it's very religious. Like, I think that's a religious term.
It's not. It could be spiritual. It could be on a spiritual, like that's what I said, universe, Buddha, star, moons, God. Like, what is your faith? What's your belief system?
Right.
And that's why I really chose faith and fitness. It's kind of just what I kind of came to me. And I didn't really think about it that much, just because I know what my faith is and what it's done for me. And I figured, hey, if I'm sharing this with them and they know that I've overcome the challenges that I've overcome, then I'm a believer of what, I'm practicing what I preach. And I really live inspired through faith and fitness. And people have known me since I was a little girl. I mean, I've been jumping up and down in the yard doing twists and flips and gymnastics. And I was a cheerleader that got involved in, fitness competitions. And I was Miss Image of Fitness USA in the top 15 in the nation. And then that's what launched my modeling career. And really my modeling career took off later in life. And then I got into editorial print modeling in Las Vegas, and I got signed with agencies, and that led to brand ambassador work and trade show work. And the sky was the limit. A lot of work. A lot of hustling though, like grinding it to the ground, freelancing and being an independent contractor and an entrepreneur. But that's really what it's about, regardless of what business that you're in. When you're an entrepreneur, you're running on the ground. You're like balls to the wall. Let's go.
Absolutely.
And, but through this, my recovery my recovery has really been about my fitness, because it's pushing myself every day that's helped with my recovery, and really keeping my faith and belief system on knowing that I'm going to overcome this. This isn't taking me down. I am going to win. I am a winner, and I'm moving forward. And I can also help heal people through this. This is amazing, because by sharing my story with other people and helping them, it's helped me heal.
Yeah.
And so it's really been a really big blessing in my life.
So what's next for Lindsey LLC?
Well, I just got the Lindsey Hagood LLC. I used to go by a different name, Lindsey Higgins. That was my professional name. And so when this whole crazy thing happened and I needed to get back to the roots of my story, I'm like, I need to get back to who Lindsey Hagood is. That's my birth name. You know, who am I? And so along with this, I am going to be launching my website, and it will be centered around motivational speaking and life coaching, along with the, a couple of the fitness challenges and stuff. But what I'm really focusing on now is the book that I'm about to be out for bLU Talks, and then my self-publish. I'm going to self-publish my own book, and I'm hoping to publish it probably April 2023. You know, it's a lot. It takes a lot to write a book. Everybody wants to write a book, but you've got to have a pretty dang good story. You've got to have plot, and you have to really commit to it. It's very, very time consuming.
Did you see our last guest?
Yes, I just got like the last half of it, and it was so amazing and inspiring. I was listening. I was like, there you have it. I'm really kind of along the channels with her, because I'm just starting again. Like, I'm piecing my life back together after the fall of me being knocked literally off the stage of my career and my life. And I've been semi-retired. I mean, my whole recovery has been, my whole journey the last 6 years have been my recovery, and it's had to be. But now that I'm well, like, what can I do to give back? And, I remember Corey saying it's such a disservice if we don't share our story. And so I heard her story, right, bits and pieces at the end of it. Rose, right?
No, Diane. Sorry.
Diane,
yeah,
okay.
I meant 2 ago, because she has business book partners, and she helps individuals like you take your concept, walk you through concept execution through distribution.
Okay. Awesome. That's awesome. Well, then I'll get her information too. No, I did not see her. I missed it. So I'll look at the replay when I can.
Yeah. And I ask everybody to put that. I'm going to ask you too, to put your contact information in the comments below where we actually share this interview. So bLU Talks Flip Your Script Experience on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. You can reach out to Corey and find out where he now behind the scenes is sharing these interviews.
Okay, wonderful.
And then put your contact information where people can find you in the comments. So when somebody comes back to watch the replay, they'll have your information.
Yeah. That's great. That's so nice to know. Yeah, and that's what I'm doing right now is networking. And I just signed up for a leadership program too. So I'm really excited. Like, I know where it's going to take me, but it's a little bit nerve-wracking. It's like one day at a time. Let's just focus on this, because you girls know we can get so crazy with our ideas, or even for men, and we can be here and we can be there. And it's like right now, just focus in on the tasks at hand. But this is wonderful to know, because I'm just now starting to network with like-minded people and that kind of thing, and getting their ideas and their stories and what they've gone through. And I've been a little bit cooped up in doctors lately, and rehab and PT. I hurt my knee.
You would never, ever know it. I got to tell you, whatever you're doing is working for you right now.
It's my faith in my fitness. I'm living inspired. I live by my motto, my motto. And, we have to. I mean, for every setback, there's a comeback. I'm like, oh, God, what is this? Well, we're just going to add this a chapter to the book, Yep. You couldn't make up this if we tried, right?
That's so funny.
Our breakdown is a breakthrough. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
There's your breakthrough. There you go.
I was going to ask you for a mind seed too, Lisa, before we close. But so, Lindsey, so I ask all of my amazing, wonderful, thought-leading guests to share a mind seed with our viewers, and I'll explain to you what a mind seed is through Flip Your Script coaching, which I founded to help individuals recognize that we script our reality. We script it by the way that we think. where we put our attention and our focus, right? So we need to recognize release and then restore our lives. When we release, we pull these thought weeds, these old beliefs that have been building into emotional plaque for too long. And so we're creating this space for new thoughts and new focus. But in order to do that, we have to replant a seed of thought so that can grow. And so a mind seed is a new seed of thought that our viewers, or even myself or Lisa, can plant when we know we're flipping our script and we're pulling a weed, but we really don't know what to replace it with. Something that we can sort of like use as our mind seed to move forward in the direction and have it support and complement the life we want to grow.
Wow, that's really great. And I've never really thought about that. I mean, for me, you know, and this could be so relatable on so many different levels, but it's not planting so much this, but shedding ourselves of this is self-doubt. I think that we all doubt ourselves. We doubt our success. We doubt who we are as a people and as a person. And really, I would love to plant self-doubt because it is no longer welcome to the party.
So let's say that somebody pulled this concept of self-doubt. What could they now replace? What could their new focus be?
What could they replace with the self-confidence? And, you know, I'm really going through that right now because, you know, I lost 2 breasts that weren't mine, plus a half partial breast I was born partially without. And so self-confidence is what I would really plant because that's where I'm at right now. And I find too, through my clients, even like on a different topic, them overcoming, you know, weight gain and weight loss, you know, getting their self-confidence back. And it seems really, really easy, but it's tricky. If it was that easy, we all would be filled up with self-confidence. But I think that we could always work on this. So that's what I'm planting. And I hope that they pull it out because, you know, I just recently got the temporary tattoos in the mail and I'm like, you know, been going through this whole tattooing process and the pigment won't take onto the skin. And I'm like, God, am I ever going to date? Am I going to meet my soulmate? And these temporary tattoos came in the mail. And you guys, you girls, it gave me so much self-confidence that it just blew me through the roof. Maybe that's why you see my glowing because my boobies are back. There's like something to be said about that.
You got your nippies back.
Absolutely.
Yes, but also just with my story, I got my self-confidence back to believe in myself because it is empowering and it is powerful. And, you know, we're all trying to, I think, live inspired and trying to be inspired and trying to be encouraged and, you know, with self-growth and self-development and business and making money and really doing something that we love. And for me, also, most importantly, helping other people, because if we're not helping other people in this world, what are we doing? I mean, what are we all here for? I mean, it's really not about my nipples anymore. Or my
no, because now you have them back. It was about your nipples before you got the tats.
I just had to laugh because I mean, you just could, you know, my heart just goes out to these breast cancer women. I went basically through what a breast cancer patient would go through without the diagnosis, and I dodged a rare cancer linked to breast implants. But that's a whole different topic. That's the next book. We'll talk about that like next year.
Okay, let's do that. We'll definitely have you back on for sure. So once again, can you share with our audience and our viewers where they can find you? And of course, you're going to put it in the links below in the comments.
Yes.
But
okay,
let us
very good.
Again.
So I'm launching LindseyHagood.com, and they'll be able to find me there soon. But Lindsey Hagood, it's Lindsey Hagood, pronounced Ha, H-A, or spelled Ha, Hagood. So Lindsey Hagood at yahoo.com. And I'll put down my number. They can reach out to me too. It's 850-533-3227. They can also reach me on Messenger, Lindsey Hagood. I'm on Facebook, Lindsey Hagood. I have that public private page, Live Inspired Through Faith and Fitness. And I'm on Instagram, Lindsey Hagood.
Thank you.
There we go. That's who I am.
You are a breath of fresh air. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're actually closing out an entire week of the most amazing thought leaders
Wow.
on an official Flip Your Script Friday. So you are the finale of this beautiful week. Lisa, you are also the finale of an incredible week.
Thank you, Lisa. It was so nice to have you and meet you too.
I want to thank, we're going to stay on together and I'm going to close out and then we can exit all together.
Okay.
So let's stay on the stage. I want to thank every single beautiful human being, every thought leader, everyone who has stepped up and out of their potential box to share who they are and what they know with the world. I also want everyone to know that anything is possible as soon as, and as long as we believe it is. As soon as you believe something is possible, your world will change. Remember that your perspective is your reality. And all it takes to shift your perspective is one thought.
Amen.
One thought is all it takes. My name is Elise Rothman. I'm the founder of Flip Your Script Coaching. You can find me at eliserothman.com. I'll put that in the comments below. If you want to retreat from your everyday and have a full-on Flip Your Script experience, my fiance, I say we, but I purchased the first Yum Life Ventures retreat where you can come and have your Flip Your Script experience. You can book a retreat with us. You can come bring your fur babies because we're fur baby friendly, which is amazing. We're family friendly as well. And I think it's really important for people to have experiences that are interactive where you can see your life and the things that are possible and have that experience. So I want to thank Corey Poirier, the founder of Blue Talks, for recognizing the value of creating this stage. And I want to let everybody know that you already are everything that you think you need to grow up or be validated to be. Thank you so much. And just remember, today's a great day for a great day. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Elise.
Thank you.